shows in back-to-back weeks. Woo! We are on a roll. Hello and welcome back to The House That Happens, sponsored by Shoey's Bar and Grill. The only place to be in suburban Etobicoke, voted 4 times the best dive bar in all the GTA. You know it's number one in our hearts. The Phoenix rising from the ashes. It's opening soon. Hi, I'm Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name's Cruz. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing great. How about yourself?
Outrageous, outstanding. Guys, you have it as usual.
That is amazing to hear.
That's an inside joke, people. That's all. Yeah, it's been a good week. You know what I'm saying? Like, get up, walk the dog, come back home, watch sports, play guitar. And I love it.
Retired life must be nice.
Shower situation gets sketchy at times, but that's personal.
That's on you, so yes, that is personal, I would say. First of all, I'd love to give a big shout out to my friend Massimo Marina. She gave birth to a lovely baby boy on, would have been on Monday, baby Mattia. Congratulations.
Congratulations to new life. We're always about that here, and Mattia is going to be his name.
Yeah.
I love that name.
Reminds me of, it's a Formula One name, so House That Happens. And Mattia Binotto, the team principal of Kick Sauber now, former Ferrari. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a cool name. He'll probably end up with a Canadianized version of it, but he can always go back to what he is. I'd call him that every day. Congratulations, most important thing.
Yeah.
And I hope mom and baby are safe and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so Massimo, I know he's going through a whirlwind of emotions. He's an Eagles fan, so he's also psyched about them going to the Super Bowl.
I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. Okay?
Any shout-outs for you?
I got a couple backhanded shout-outs. Like, you know when you hear all these people on TV and they complain about their place in life? I just want to say one thing to Mr. Greg Olson. You're a very good guy on TV. Sorry you're not Tom Brady. Would you quit whining?
Did you think that came across as whiny?
Oh, 100%. The guy's a hardcore player. I never expected out of him. I'm better than this. Hey, did you win 7 Super Bowls? Were you scrutinized going on the air? You just came on the air. You were just Greg Olson. You came on the air and you were good. And I respect that. I love watching his games. And you know me, I got the 4 TVs. If I'm going to turn it up and Olson's on the odd game, I'm listening to Olson. I don't have a problem with that. But then come on and say, you know what he's pissed about? Because when's the next time he's going to do a Super Bowl?
Yeah, well,
he's out of the loop.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Well,
so don't complain about your place in life. Hey, Greg Olson, how much money you got in the bank? What did football give you? What's your contract say? Stop it.
He's just going to have to wait for Chris Collinsworth to get out of the way, I guess, to get that NBC job.
That's going to be one of when we talk about the House That Happens, when I see things like that, I go, whoa. You know what I mean? Look at the world today. Don't come on and tell me you got a problem. If that's your only problem, you ain't got problems.
Well,
buddy.
Okay, well, what was the context of it in the interview? Like,
basically, it's this, and I felt for the guy, okay? When Brady said he was coming in next year, everybody knew, oh, Greg, guess what? You know, that was the name of the game. It's just like when you're playing on a team. You know what I mean? But he's saying that the guy replaced him basically maybe not as good. That's what your opinion. What does the general public say? I don't
think he's, to be fair, I think he's right.
At the moment.
Exactly.
But Brady coming down the stretch has been outstanding, and everybody said it, okay?
Although there's a couple lines that what we saw in Championship Sunday where you're like, Brady, stop it.
Okay, yeah, because we heard them. We said it ourselves, and we're Brady guys, right? We both, okay, Tom, that's a little overblown. But I think what Brady has done is he's pulled Romo back a bit.
I don't know if it's him.
Tolerant, I don't know.
I don't know if it's Brady himself or kind of like the circumstances leading around Brady. Because I think it was more like CBS telling Romo, like, hey, like, calm the F down.
Okay,
you know?
I don't know, but here we're talking about this reason. What? There has never been a guy that, when Tony Romo was going into the booth, Tony Romo's going into the booth. Greg Olson, you're going into the booth. No. Brady, what was that? Oh, I've never seen anything like this in my life. Why? Because he's Tom Brady.
Yeah, the greatest of all time.
Okay, so you either love him or you hate him. Everybody knows which is
everyone's got an opinion.
Yeah, so it's a great polarizing figure, and you can put him on TV, and he can talk very well about football. Sorry, Greg. You know what I mean? That's just how the game plays. You know what I mean? Someone replace you. We'll get you another chance. I'm not disparaging his abilities, and I like listening to the game. But I don't like someone coming to the mic and whining because, oh, my God, shut up.
Well, you have to ask yourself also, like, what was the context of this in the interview? Because, like, how was it brought up? Like, I would like to see, like, the full, like, uncensored interview of this and how they got there, right?
I don't care in any way, that shape or form. If he was even saying, like,
well, what was his answer edited too? You have to answer. Ask yourself
most
that.
of it was edited. I only got, say, maybe
because it was a written piece, right?
Right, yeah. So it was only so long, and you never hear the tone of voices, which are
exactly
very important. But The fact that you brought it up, he should have said, the only drag about this is I don't get to do Super Bowl games, but hey, it's Brady. What am I going to do? If you had said that, I'd have mad respect for the guy. You know what I mean? Because that's all it is. It's Tom Brady, buddy.
Right.
But when I'm never going to get to that, stop it.
I would like to give a big shout out to you, Cruz, for hosting Championship Sunday. For me and my brother, we had a great time.
We're going to do it again?
Love to hear it.
Yes, we're going to do it again. Big shout out to Steven. You know what was great? I realized after we talked when we were supposed to and we shut up when we were supposed to, kind of. You know what I mean? When we're watching the game, like when moments came, everybody, we were paying attention to the game.
Oh, the game was the star of the night.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. And it was interesting because remember the call I said in my history of Championship Sundays? Sometimes both games are great, but when one game's a dud, usually the other one is the spectacular. Thank God it went in that order.
Yes.
Steven, you're welcome back anytime. So are you. We will do it again.
Wish it could have been a Championship Sunday where both games are classic, but
hey,
that's
we'll
the
get
way
that
it goes.
in the future.
Any more interesting things to bring up?
I got one more shout out to the new coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Liam Cohen. Let's not talk about your opinion of how...
So the new coach of Jacksonville, Liam Cohen.
And how he was going to be the most expensive offensive coordinator in the league and blah, blah, blah. We'll just move it away. We're going to talk about his press conference. If you've heard any kickback about Liam Cohen and that press conference, I'm going to tell everybody that's snickering right now, remember MCDC's press conference when he was done and what all the disparaging things and who is this guy, kneecaps and everything, shouting out to Liam Cohen to say, when you get your team into an NFC conference ship game, which I hope he does.
AFC.
Game, good for you. Don't judge a man by his press conference. Glad that he was that kind of humorous, personally.
I mean, to be fair, like, if you would judge MCDC by his press conference, I mean, that'd be pretty fair. I mean, because what you see is what you get from him.
Okay, that's what
not to draw the conversation away, but...
Okay, well, that's what they're saying, because he was like, this is what you see is what you get? Well, if that's him and it gets you the AFC Championship game, what do you care about?
There you go.
Hey, if Trevor Lawrence becomes a better quarterback, remember what he did to Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
Okay, so before people don't judge, observe and learn.
Okay. I'd like to talk about a few movies I watched this week. So one was Saturday night. It's the SNL movie. I don't know if you've heard about this. It's about like the hour and a half leading up to the broadcast of the first show.
The wife said it was very good.
It was very good.
Yeah, I did not know that. I did not. I mean, it was on, but the wife had watched it. I will make a point of watching it. That's my time.
Yeah.
It's 1975, right?
Yes, sir.
16.
Dick Ebersol is a character in the movie who, if you know sports and the history of sports broadcasting, it should be a familiar name.
100%. And that was one of the, I don't know. I wonder if because I haven't seen it, but back in the day, people questioned him because he was a sports guy.
Yeah.
That was the big, you know what I mean?
They should have been questioning him later when he brought the XFL to NBC, but...
Yeah, but that's we're not all perfect.
No, absolutely not.
But I would like to shout out to that, and I wonder if there's any reference to it, because it's not, because it's just about the hour and a half before. Lorne Michaels, you know where he got the concept for Saturday Night Live and some of its better ideas? From the late, great Wayne and Schuster.
Oh, well, they allude to his wife at the time being a Schuster, and like, do they use the Schuster last name on the credits and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, right. Yeah, that
they don't go too deep into it, but
because it's not really part of that story.
Yeah, exactly.
But the evolution of Saturday Night Live, its direct lineage is from the Wayne and Schuster show, and I used to watch that with my father, and I would laugh. Go on YouTube and check out some of their skits. Some of them are still relevant today, especially the Toronto stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they do stuff about some things that are going on. They do a golf tournament in downtown Toronto. Like, go take, it's epic.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah. They're, you know what? And they changed the name of the golfers at the time. Like, one guy's name was Kermit Zarley, and they changed it to Zarley Kermit Jr. Whatever.
Right.
But the Saturday Night Live thing, good recommendation.
Yeah. You also, it's interesting seeing like kind of like the old television world, new television. Like, that's a lot of the focus of the movie. It's like Johnny Carson calls him to threaten him, and like, yeah, Milton Berle's an asshole, which like if you know Milton Berle, that's not really a secret. But...
No.
But
that came out along the way.
Oh yeah. Also, I saw kind of SNL adjacent, I guess, the Chippendale Rescue Rangers movie. This is on Disney.
Oh, what?
So it's I'd say it's like a spiritual successor to Roger Rabbit, where it's like animated characters and human characters living in the same world.
Okay.
It's a mystery kind of thing.
Okay.
Even like in terms of like having other studios characters in there, like a couple South Park characters shows up. Beavis has a cameo from Beavis and Butthead. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah. It's
This
like
is
it's a lot
weird.
of like.
What's the premise?
So there's like the bad guys are basically turning animated characters. They're like transforming them into knockoffs so they can make their own knockoff animated movies.
Okay.
I think you might enjoy it.
I think so. That line alone in 2025 is perked my attention. You know what I mean? Chippendales. Where's that at? On what?
No, like the chipmunks. Like
I know, but what?
Disney.
I got Disney. I'll check it. I see it flashing on, and
it was really funny. My sister and her fiance Alexandra Mitchell. Mitchell, thank you for listening. I know you're a loyal listener.
How you doing?
They've been telling me for 2 years to watch this, and I finally got off my ass and watched it.
Okay, then that sounds like something I should watch.
Yeah.
When I'm diverting myself from sports, which is rare.
Yeah, like they use cheese as like a stand-in for drugs. Like it's like stuff like Roger Rabbit 2, where it's like on the surface it looks like a kid's movie, but like if you really get into like the themes and like what's really about, it's like it's not really a kid's movie. Yeah.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, there's one some great stuff early on too. Like there's all sorts of anime characters. So like there's a sock puppet cop that just pops up.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Any famous voiceover people?
Oh, a bunch.
I thought, yeah.
Yeah, so like Will Arnett, J.K. Simmons,
Okay.
Keegan-Michael Key.
Oh, yeah.
Andy Samberg is the voice of Dale.
Okay.
It's him and John Mulaney. I don't know if you're familiar with those two, but I was highly entertained.
That's all that matters.
And then the next night I saw another SNL adjacent thing. So Lonely Island, they did like the Dick in a Box, I'm on a Boat, all those songs. They did a half-hour Bash Brothers experience thing where one of them's Mark McGuire, one of them's Jose Canseco.
I don't remember that.
It's on Netflix. It's like it's not the strongest thing they've done, but it's like 20-25 minutes. It's like they call it a visual poem, so it's like a bunch of like music videos back to back essentially.
Okay.
It was pretty funny.
Okay.
It was pretty funny.
And it was the Bash Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay. Should be good.
It was funny.
Canseco character.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Any more shout outs?
Not really. No,
Yeah, we'd just like to pay tribute to the 67 dead among the two aircraft killed at Ronald Reagan Airport in D.C. the other day. It was an Army helicopter and American Airlines flight that collided with each other. And the plane included athletes and coaches from the figure skating community.
Very, very sad event, especially when young people who are trying to reach the highest level of competition. Our hearts and prayers go out to the families.
Absolutely.
Very tragic, sombering event that has happened.
Mm-hmm. There was some news in the WNBA where Kelsey Plum.
Hold on. One little thing we're going to do before we go, because since we're not really that kind of a show, but since we're talking about things of a serious nature, perhaps it's a day that we should all remember to buy Canadian.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know what I'm talking about,
watch the news.
no, you're living in a cave.
Yeah.
Or you're not being a good Canadian. That's
Sure.
the way that pay attention to what's going on to our country, people. Alrighty?
Moving to the WNBA, Kelsey Plum, guard formerly of the Las Vegas Aces, was traded to the LA Sparks. Jewel Lloyd moves to the Las Vegas Aces in that trade. Brittany Griner signed with the Atlanta Dream, and Alyssa Thomas was traded to the Phoenix Mercury. So some big money moves in the WNBA.
Do you understand the minutia of what's going on in the WNBA right now? It's absolutely fascinating. Okay, let's put it this way. They've been running $50 million annually or something, and now they're going to be running after 2026, so $200 million or whatever from the networks and things that are coming in. They've opted out of their CBA. And they've designated these players now, before they got out of that, as called core players. So every player you mentioned there, except for Brittany Greer and her name, Griner, and Kelsey Mitchell, who on the Indiana Fever, and she was like a first-team All-Star kind of player, they're all designated as core players. You know what core players means? You cannot trade them unless it's a sign and trade.
Oh.
Yes. Okay, so then when you see when Alicia Thomas goes to Phoenix,
Alyssa Thomas,
and Kelsey Plum, they're picked places they want to go, and Brittany Greer ended up going to Griner because Atlanta had so much cap space because they have a pretty strict salary cap in the game. They all got 1-year deals.
Waiting for revenue to shoot up.
So they killed the CBA. The new money kicks in. And it's all coming to be ahead by, I think it is June of the next year or something. So I find it fascinating because in all the other sports, if this was the NBA or this was the NHL and how this is working, because of course those leagues would never put themselves in that position. My point is, look how far one individual can move the needle in a sport. I hope all these people that are getting designated as core players, and the girl I'm talking about is not yet because she's still under her rookie contract. I hope that what happens here is, in my humble opinion, is we hear a lot of what goes on the court, who's bitching about who, and this is one of the times I say, girls, you're in such a unusual position for your sport and your franchise. I'm going to tell you, shut up and dribble. This is one time I think you should say, don't frickin', you know what I mean?
Well, we haven't heard anything yet.
No, I'm just saying this is
a preemptive shut up and dribble.
This is the gospel according to Cruz, and I'm not Nostradamus, but I'm bringing it up now because you see the evolution of contracts, people, and players that I smell something. I wonder how they're going to work this out. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And then don't forget this. What is done is also the shoe contracts are getting bigger. Like all of these things are getting up because there's more eyes on the sport. I watched the WNBA finals this year for the first time probably ever, all the games. It wasn't because said individual was playing them. It was because it was very high level competition. You know what I mean? And the games were great. So I hope that we keep it on that way. But I'm fascinated to see how these players moved, who they moved to, 1-year deals, and they all made it under the cap. Oh, and another interesting fact about this league, which I think is totally unbelievable, is when you make deals, you have to have a number one draft choice available to you in the next 3 drafts.
In order to make a trade.
When you're done trading, you still have to remain one of your next 3 first.
Well, the NBA kind of works like that too, though. Where there is first round pick rules where you can't trade so many within a certain time frame.
Is it? That's
yeah, it is. Because Cleveland, I think it was when
did they change the rule? A few years ago, right?
No, this is an old rule. Because back in the day, Cleveland was a little reckless with trading their first round picks.
But I know people that didn't have their first round picks for 3 years. I think you got to have so many over a longer period of time.
I think in the NBA it might be like over 4 years, but
okay,
or like consecutive. I don't know. It's something like that.
This is a lot stricter.
Which they're a little bit stricter, yeah.
Yes, and I put it this way. I put it in line. I think I would like to see that in the NBA a little bit more. Protects the franchises from themselves, so to speak.
I have mixed feelings about it because, like, at the same time, like, your GM is hired to, like, he's there to take risks, right?
Yeah.
If it's a good risk, bad risk, like, that's on him.
Okay.
So if you throw away your first round picks, I'm not feeling bad for you. It sucks if it's your team, granted.
Okay.
But I'm not protecting them from themselves. Like, where are these kids?
Okay, so I'm just saying for competitive balance, but I'm not gonna.
Let's put skirts on them.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much. I will accept your explanation. I was just saying that sometimes for growth of teams that it's in my mind, hey, that's not a bad idea. But your point of view is well respected because you can't tell people how to use their assets.
No.
You know what I mean? So that's interesting way to look at it.
If I can use my first round picks to make my team better, like, why should you stop me?
Okay, that's what I'm saying. And it's a free enterprise game.
It should be.
Yes, under a salary cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I can live with that. In any event, the reason I'm bringing up this, and I was not to mean to be insulting with the girls shut up and dribble. I didn't mean it like that. I should refute that too. But this manner, what I'm saying is, this league has an opportunity to take the next step. You know,
it's going to take time.
Yeah, but I mean, they've made this is an unprecedented move on a league of this level in the history of North American sports.
Mm-hmm. The next 10 years, the next decade of this league is going to be very interesting.
Very
telling.
Very. That's what I'm seeing. But the thing is that got the ball rolling is the amount of corporate money that has now jumped on the bandwagon and opting out of the CBA core players' new contract. Ooh, should be interesting.
Okay. And speaking of interesting, the NCAA settled the dispute with Tennessee and Virginia over NIL, name, image, likeness. The full terms will be released later in the spring, but they do have a framework for those states. And I believe those were the only two that were kind of like still holding the line.
Something like that. And there was a Hatfield-McCoy kind of thing, too, going on there. But that's another story. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that will lead us into
college basketball.
Yes,
we are
sir.
6 weeks away from the tournament, people, so it would be unremiss of me that I would know about 8 weeks, 7, end of March.
Still.
College basketball. So what we're going to do this thing, we're just going to give you a little idea what's going on, and we're not going to go through a lot. Well, we'll maybe do a little bit more each week as we get to the tourney. How's that?
Yes. Something that grabbed my attention.
Okay.
7 of the top 14 ranked teams from the SEC.
Oh, you're stealing stuff out of my freaking bag of tricks, because actually they got 3 teams in the top 5, and the top 5 are Auburn, Duke, Iowa State, Alabama, and Florida. But here's the crazy ass thing. They actually have, what is it? 10
in the top 25.
10 in the top 25. So it's been an interesting year for the SEC in this respect. Everyone's saying, oh, you're not the football college that you think you are, conference you think you are. How much money does the SEC college football programs bring in?
A lot.
Okay, so they're bringing in. Do you not think the residual effect is, well, we can throw some money down to the basketball team, can't we? We like March Madness. We like being in the Final Four. This is just like, I've never seen a shift like this in a long time. I should look it up historically. Do I think all those SEC teams will be there in the Final Four? That's to be said, because everyone knows, and I would be a hypocrite if I did it, I always got worried about SEC when I was picking my Final Four. Why? Because I always said, they're football schools.
But Auburn ranked number 1 unanimously by AP.
If they win the national championship, Charles Barkley will have a baby. I predict that right now. Okay?
His alma mater, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't see them winning it, though.
You never know.
You never know. But long way to go. The interesting thing, team, is if anybody knows anything about me, Michigan is just outside the top 25. Michigan State, who is a perennial in there, are the top Big Ten team, who are the conference with the second most teams in the top 25. And if we're not going to say anything about Big Ten, SEC, come on, who runs college shit?
Well, ACC, too, is a big name. And
they are now. They're up there, too. I mean, look at Duke's number 2. They got a few schools, and it always boils down to the tournament, who's going to come in there. But in any event,
Cooper Rush.
Yeah. Well, don't worry, Toronto Raptor fans. We're still in line. Don't worry about it. But that's another story.
Cooper Flag, Cooper Rush is a football player.
So first things I'm going to say right now, as of February 1st, 2025, long before the tournament started, and I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't bring this up. Maybe I said it last year, Mr. Milani. I'm bringing it out to you, Rick LaMarche, is Iowa State is number 3 in the country. And I'm higher on them than I've been in years. And I have taken them gone to the Final Four when they got knocked out in the second round. Shit. So if all you guys that know me are saying that I'm jumping on the Iowa State bandwagon again, no, man, I've been doing it for a lot of years, and I've seen them play some games, and I'm sticking my wagon to them to start. So that's my first bandwagon jump, because I'm a Michigan guy. So you know what I'm saying? But I'm looking out there. So I'm also going to say this. 3 teams to keep your eye on. And this is not even in the tournament. No one's going on. I want to say it. Maybe we should say this is a Nostradamus show. Didn't I just say something else that maybe could happen, and it will? 3 teams to watch. Memphis, Marquette, and St. John's. I'm just saying that right now. Maybe you should put that in the annals that I said that on the February show. Oh, we got it on the February show. It's always on tape when we go back and look. Any event.
So repeat those, sorry?
The 3 teams that I'm to watch right now are Memphis, Marquette, and St. John's.
Memphis, Marquette, and St. John's.
Okay. Yes, okay, let's see what happens as the tournament starts. Was that my dog?
That's your dog.
Okay, he's a little bit of the background noise today, but that's another problem. In any event, a little thing we're going to start here is that I do perhaps put a little peso down once in a while on college basketball games. You know what I'm saying? So if you look at, I think I'll give you a little parlay today that perhaps could do something for you, because it's just like football. It's a lot to win. So there's some interesting games today. The thing is, Florida is playing Tennessee, and they're top 10. I believe that Tennessee will win the game, saying the Saturday afternoon stuff that's going on, and I think they will cover the spread, which I forgot to write down. Damn it. Anyways, Missouri, another top 25 team, who is playing Mississippi State in Mississippi State. I will contradict myself and say Missouri will pull out the upset in Mississippi State because I think that state's just a tad overrated. Okay, and we got Arizona and Arizona State. The reason I'm saying, will Arizona be able to win in Arizona to shoot, because they're trying to move up because they're supposed to be a team, I predict them to be upset by Arizona State. Auburn's playing Ole Miss this afternoon. I'm predicting an upset. Ole Miss to win at home against Auburn.
Okay.
Saturday afternoon in the hometown. And finally, least but not, Louisville will go into Georgia Tech and steal a win.
Wow. All right. I find it interesting that looking at the women's top 25, only one team is shared between the two, just Duke.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because you got South Carolina.
UCLA is number one. Notre Dame is third.
Isn't Connecticut in there? Or is that still common?
Connecticut's 25th for men's. They're 6th for women's.
Oh, okay. Are you saying top 10, right?
Top 10.
Yeah,
top
10, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. LSU, Ohio State, TCU, nowhere to be seen in the top 10 for men.
No, not even close. Interesting. But keep your eyes open, people. There's a chance to make some money.
There always is.
Yes.
There always is. We'll move this over to the Australian Open, where Jannik Sinner bested Zverev in the final 6-3, 7-6, 6-3. Basically just like I predicted.
Yes. And you know what was really sad? I was kind of cheering for Zverev or whatever his name is. He looked like a guy that was playing his first final. You know what I mean?
Yeah, his first Grand Slam final.
His first Grand Slam final. And maybe he was a little weirded out because he didn't get to play Djokovic the whole way. I'm trying to figure out excuses for the guy because I'm so only one set was competitive.
Yeah, just the middle set that went to tiebreaker.
And then the other sets, like Sinner just mowed him down. I got a little prediction about this, even though
broke his serve and just never looked back.
Exactly, and you keep on. He looked like a machine out there. You know what I mean? So good player though. Let's just.
He's number 2 in the world for a reason.
There you go. I'm going to make a prediction right now because we're not going to spend a lot of time on the Aussie Open because it wasn't the ending that we all expected, even though we should shout out to the Keys girl because she's 29 years old.
Yep. Well, we did last week.
We just see that reminder of that. But I'm going to make this prediction right now. Of the 4 people that made the semifinals this year, one of them might make the French Open. I don't think Shelton's ready. I think the kid had a great run, but he's a clay court. He's a hard court guy. So what's going to happen to him? He'll be gone in the second round. You know how it works? Let's see the next. We won't see this top core of guys till we get to Wimbledon.
That's
my prediction. Sinner is the only guy giving me a chance because you don't think Alcaraz is going to be in the top 4 on clay? And they got that other kid from Spain who's coming up the ranks, and he made it to the quarterfinals last year or something like that. He's a year better. And who else is good on clay? There's a couple of those guys out there that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I see 1 of 4 making it to the. So I'm saying Sinner and Alcatraz are already going there.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else for tennis?
Nah, we're good.
We'll move us to Major League Baseball, where the Blue Jays made a splash, signing Max Scherzer to a 1-year, $15.5 million deal.
And?
Well, it's a nice little surprise considering I didn't even think we'd get a sniff at him.
Okay, so here's the other deal right here. Max Scherzer is like Scherzer, whatever. One of the best flyers the Blue Jays have ever taken a chance on. The fact that the way that he's pitched over the years, and he's had some injuries, but he was never a fireballer, but he threw hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Great in the dugout, huge competitor, could rub off on the team. You know what I'm saying? So he's a dugout presence. That's great. So now that we've signed him, what is your perspective on our Toronto Blue Jays before we get into camp?
A modicum better, but there's still some holes in the lineup.
My take on it is this.
If very much infield, we're going to be down to Dalton Varsho to start the season, so
okay,
I don't know who's going to play. So center field, that's going to be an issue.
Okay, so let's cut to the chase here. All right, you put that banner up on your site. We seen the banner. That was absolutely hilarious, by the way. Okay.
Yeah, let me.
The bridesmaids of bridesmaids. Okay.
Well, it's a Toronto Blue Jays free agency finalist for Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, and Roki Sasaki, 2022, 2023, 2025.
Yeah, let's put that banner up. That being said, so why don't we just go out and take a shot at Flaherty and Alonso now? Because here's the look, and I've been watching a little bit of baseball. Defense and pitching basically wins in baseball. Now, we've heard what Shakins have had to say about the whole years ago when they blew up the team stupidity. We're going to give up a little offense to get defense. Remember that bullshit? Okay?
Yep.
Okay, so look at it right now.
That was around the time when we started the show.
There you go. Okay, so now when you look at it, we're going to have the opportunity to maybe have 6 starters coming at camp. That's a good thing.
Of course.
Not a lot of teams are going to be able to say they have 16 starters of this quality, okay? We have beefed up the bullpen. We have one of the best, on metrics, defenses in the MLB. So there is a foundation of hope, Toronto Blue Jay fans. The bottom line is
the offense that's a little worrisome.
Okay, now all we have to have an average season from Vlad. We got to do Santander to have his average season. Bo come back to his average season, and the couple kids that we picked up that were looking like they could swing last year, for them to take the next step. Would that make us competitive?
You'd think.
Well, that's how I'm going to go into the season, because I don't want to go into the season thinking it's over by freaking August 1st.
Like
so
last
let's
year.
have some optimism. Remember last year we were at this time, we were going, oh, doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. Not looking good. Oh, it's worse than we thought, okay? So I'm of the belief this year that 2025, the year of positivity, which every year should be, I'm going to look at angles, and I've seen how everybody's improved. Nobody's put enough pitching everybody's put enough pitching in. It's the quality of pitching that you have picked up that's going to determine where you're going to go. And it appears that Toronto may have, on paper, a little bit more quality pitching than anybody in the AL East. And that's the boys they got to go after. Like, look, who's Boston's 5 starters? Look at Yankees' 5 starters. Let's just start right there. Now, their back ends might be a little bit better, which is extremely important. But I think we've got and
their bats are way better.
What's that?
Their offense.
Oh, okay. So, but good pitching beats good offense, but not every day. Correct?
Right.
Okay. So,
well, then the Yankees just made it to the World Series, right?
Okay, there you go. But where was Yankees this time last year? They had missed the playoffs.
Okay.
So why can't the Jays make a jump? The thing is I'm going to go with this, and this is a weird thing to be doing, people. We haven't signed Blatty, and we haven't signed Bo. And that's part of the reason that some of these guys didn't come to town.
Sure.
So this is the biggest throw of the dice I've seen since maybe the Blue Jays started their career. Go back any year when we've taken a shot. Like we've had other years where we've brought in that Asian pitcher we thought was going to be great. In 3 starts, we kicked them out, and we all knew the team was shit anywhere. You know that drought we had with the Jays?
Yeah.
The period, like we knew that at the start of the season. But we're just 5 years away from being a team that was like, sexy pick to get to the World Series. Huh?
That seems like a long time ago now.
And it wasn't. And it wasn't that long ago. So I'm just saying now they put themselves in a position for the biggest gamble in the new baseball experience down at the Rogers Center. Huh. So I'm going to try to have positive slant on this, people. I really am. Because if it don't, it's going to be a disaster. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this.
No, of course not. Heads will roll if this is another bad season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead.
Speaking of things, I guess, that won't make you happy, there's talk of a bunch of owners being unhappy in Major League Baseball. I'm starting to sniff a salary cap.
I don't believe it for 1 second. Not 1 second. These are whiny little bitches. Maybe we should call this show Whiny Little Bitches. Well, because we got Marshawn to talk about, too. Speaking of whiny little bitches. But I don't believe it for 1 second. You know why? Every time these owners say that, they're just mad because the other guy spent more money. So if you wanted, you could give them more money. Now, the allure of La La Land, the Dodgers, the tradition where they've stood in the last 10 years, rather attractive place to go play baseball.
Well, and they're
right?
also outbidding guys. I think that's the most important factor that you're missing.
And end of story. And didn't you previously say about the first round draft choices, this is how your management work, do it or don't, and you do whatever it is that you got to do it? One of the leading guys to shoot his mouth off is Steinbrenner.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm supposed to take that with a grain of... This is the Steinbrenners. You're bitching about these guys spending money?
Yeah, but ever since Junior took over, they've been...
Not my problem. Shut up and spend.
I'm just saying.
You just made it the World Series. Don't be a bitch. Okay, so now you think it's going to really be that way?
Yeah.
This is free market America at their capitalist... More, apple pie and freaking hot dog.
Every other North American sports league has adopted a salary cap.
This is called baseball. I do not see it happening. So
why?
Okay.
Why just because it's baseball?
Who owns the New York Mets?
Steve Cohen.
We got Rogers.
Rogers would 100% vote for a salary cap.
If they did that, I'd be disappointed. I live in Toronto because it'd be the.
When have they ever spent in the luxury tax, though?
What's that?
When have they ever spent in the luxury tax? There
1
you
year,
go.
2 years. Yeah, but they were close. They didn't get there. If they had gone the next level, they would have went into if they were ready.
Oh, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Okay, but we knew they were willing to go into it. Back to the Richardi days, they were going to go into it 1 year. They didn't work because they thought they had a shot.
Because the team sucked.
Before the Belgians took over, that's when things got wrecked. Let's go back that history. That's another whole story. But my point being is I think, okay, I'm going to tell you the teams right now. We talked about it in the production meeting. Let's go around the league. Arizona, they're good at spending money. San Francisco's good at spending money. San Diego was until the family estate got kind of weirded out. Boston can spend money. Who am I? St. Louis.
Yeah, but Boston, ever since the new ownership there, they've been a little hesitant about what they spend, too.
Yeah, but now they've gone back to the metrics and notice they're making a push this year because they're the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, but they're still not going into luxury tax, not even close.
Well, we'll see what's going to... When they're a chance to win, you know what got teams are doing? They're trying to get a team so when they get to the end and they get to, like, the trade deadline and where they're going to go there, then they'll just freaking blow the wide and go for the ring. That kind of thinking. Seems to be the prevalent thing of where you're going to go because then it's still not going to cost you $1 zillion to get there. But your theory is either go for it or don't, which I'm liking. So I'm saying, how many teams I said there? That's 8 or 9. Let's go around the league.
You did not say 8. You said like 3 or 4 teams.
Okay, let's start again. Toronto, San Francisco, Arizona, New York Mets, Boston Red Sox, Chicago Cubs, St. Louis Cardinals. Did I mention Arizona?
Yeah, you did.
St. Louis Cardinals. Even the people in Florida, that's 9. There's a couple.
Florida?
Philadelphia.
Yeah, I don't know.
Washington will spend money. So if you need 2/3 votes to bring in a system.
I'm not buying a few of those teams that you named.
Well, we'll wait and see. It's all for speculation. Once again, we're trying to predict what's going to happen in the future. And if you're going to come to the gospel according to Cruz, I'm going to tell you this. I don't believe there'll be a salary cap. Maybe in about 10 years. Because how are you going to pay all these guys when your ratings aren't where you want them to be and you hope the streaming contracts are all new now? What if we get 5 years down the road and the ratings don't pay for the streaming that you want? Unless you're freaking Amazon, they don't care.
Right.
When they put the NHL on. You know what I mean? But eventually, the economics is going to say, this is why I'm paying you. That's why the NBA is scared to death right now, but we'll get to that in a bit.
So we'll have to see, and we'll move this on to the...
Wait a second here. I want to ask you a question about baseball.
Okay.
We need more pitching, don't we?
The Jays?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like a couple more arms in the bullpen.
Okay, well, what if we could move a starter in the bullpen? And
like
we
who?
get an expectation. Would you sign Trevor Bauer?
I would.
Oh, shock. I lost in Vegas. That's why I said to you, I thought you'd say no. Remember I said to you, I'm going to ask you a question?
Yeah.
And I swear you're going to say, I don't think so.
Let's pick up a good pitcher. Why not?
Oh, you know what? I think my
although you gotta wonder him, you gotta wonder him and Scherzer are two nutcases in the same.
Oh, perfect.
Just keep them on opposite ends, maybe, of the bullpen
and
or of the.
And don't let Hazel May interview them.
Well, let's not get into that.
I just saying that would be spectacular. We got Scherzer and Vladdy, and and all these guys in the dugout. And
Too many cooks?
No. We got a lot of people that are saying, how do we want to win here? That would rub off on Bassett, Gozman, and Barrios. They all think like that. Now they got somebody push them a little bit more.
Yeah. I don't think those three are the problem.
No, exactly. But they could accentuate what has Bassett said about winning? What has Gozman said about winning? What's management doing? Mm-hmm. You change the clubhouse like that, shit could happen. All right, people, so we're going to say it. We don't care what anyone else says. We have a unanimous decision. Shackins, you know what Trevor Bauer said he'd play for? Free.
Okay, let's do it.
Free. Didn't you see his manifesto he put out?
No.
God bless that guy. But we know you did.
Unfortunately.
We know what you did. I'll bring him to Toronto. He'll stay at my house. They wouldn't know he's here. You know what I'm saying? Give us 200 innings on his ear. Bulldog guys out in the 7th inning.
Let's do it.
Oh, I'm all over it.
We'll move this along to the PWHL, where the Spectres have moved up a spot, or at least tied for second last now. They are 2 points back of fourth, so
what?
It's not all doom and gloom.
So what? No.
The top four make the playoffs. 2 points back.
They'll get bitch slapped so hard by Montreal, I can still
Well,
feel
hey,
this thing.
last year they were the number 1 seed and they lost in the first round.
Point well taken. They got how many games left? They still got
Like half the year.
Yeah, so they got almost 20.
More, I think.
Yeah, it's over 20 games left to right the ship. The team don't
Like
look...
18, 16 games, something like that, yeah.
Doesn't matter. They better get in that time. Have you seen them play lately?
Well, they beat New York 4-2 on
Horrible
Saturday.
game. Both teams are terrible.
They outshot them 35-19. Hannah Miller, who plays for China internationally, I found out. This blew my mind. No Chinese connection, and you're playing for China. I'm like, there's some controversy. I'm like, oh, geez, I wonder why.
Oh, I'm going...
She had 2 goals either way.
That's just...
Our Chinese girl.
And I'm not going to say nothing about foreign interference in our country. Okay? Nothing at all. But in any event, I was shocked too. When you told me that, so what? How'd that happen? Oh,
I just put that in the show notes. I'm like, this is blowing my mind.
I understand why. Where was she actually born?
BC, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at her. I'm like,
BC? You're kidding me.
Yeah,
Chinese born in BC? Stop
you
it.
see her, blonde hair, blue eyes. I'm like, you don't know she's location.
No. Just to keep adding up the aesthetic. And you go, what? Hey, I'm dumb, not stupid. Remember that.
Yeah.
But in any event.
She used to play for Canada internationally.
What went? Oh yeah, we're in Canada. That's right. All good.
That's our country.
All good. That's our country at its finest. I'm just saying that I'm really worried that the bottom feeders are going to stay bottom feeders because when I seen the other game, especially Montreal, and who's in second place? Minnesota?
New York or Minnesota?
No, it's Minnesota's in second place. They seem to play sharper, crisper games. I have been paying attention. I put them on the screen and look at the hockey. That one game that Toronto watched, you cannot be putting that product on the ice every day. Like, it was a sloppy mess. You know how hockey goes. Like, the girls can get it flowing. We see in international games, a good hockey game is a good hockey game. It was not a good hockey game. Simply put,
Fair enough.
Like maybe I have some say in what a good-looking hockey game is. Perhaps, maybe. You know what I mean? I just saying that when I seen the Montreal and the Minnesota teams, there's something about their playing. Like, the other teams come up to their level for like 8 minutes in the second period, and then all of a sudden the other team just kind of puts a little pressure on them, and didn't work out well. Mm-hmm. But then again, here's something I found out too. The solidity of the Toronto roster hasn't been as consistent as the top 2 teams. So perhaps maybe because they're getting...
What do you mean, like line juggling? Or?
And players that they lost and players that they're just bringing in, they haven't maybe perhaps found their cohesiveness, hence the reason in 16 games I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Right.
By the way, did you see a couple sellouts that are coming up around?
Yes, sir.
So give them credit. So they're doing something right. Not only in Toronto, aren't they selling out a game in Minnesota?
I'm not sure. I know they had a game in Colorado that sold out very well, and people there were chanting, "We want a team."
We want a team. Yeah. That was over 15,000 at the Pepsi-Cola, wherever.
Ball Arena in Colorado.
Yeah, they had.
Denver.
So maybe it's 3 games because the one in Toronto, have they had it yet?
That was last weekend. The one at Scotiabank.
Almost 20,000.
They sold out.
Yeah, they sold out. So that's there, and so there must be 3 because I think there's another city. Great promotion. If you can attract that many bums in the seats, people, just improve the product a little. And we'll be all right. Unfortunately
for Toronto, they lost their next 2 games in the shootout. 4-3 at Minnesota on Tuesday. Renata Fast finally scored her first goal of the season, our leading scorer, and then they lost at Montreal 4-3 in the shootout the other night.
Oh, well.
So at least they pick up points.
That's true. And not only that, like I said, let's give them 16 games. If I'm going to be that positive about the Blue Jays, I will not call them bottom feeders anymore.
You got to be that positive about the Scepters, too.
2020, yes, what I'm saying. 2025 Scepters make the playoffs.
And Toronto this week, they play versus Ottawa tonight, versus Minnesota Tuesday, and versus Boston Friday. So a nice little homestand this week.
There you go.
We'll be cheering for our ladies, and we'll move this on to one of my favorite segments here. It's our soccer report.
Champions League.
Well, we'll get to that. But Tajon Buchanan, our Canadian, was not getting a lot of playing time with Inter, but he signs with Villarreal on a loan with an option to buy.
What does that mean? I see that on the ticker.
So at the end of the loan, the team...
Did they get him back?
Yes. But in this case, they have Villarreal, the team that's getting him on loan, they have an option to buy. It's like a set amount of money. They're like, we can buy him at the end of it if we like him.
Yeah, so if you suck, get out. Wow.
Yeah.
I go loan, and I always see that. I've been meaning to ask you that for the last year. Every time I say loan a guy, does that mean he goes and comes back? Because I always forget.
Yeah.
And then I see a guy go and comes back, and I don't really connect the dots at the time. But that's okay. Okay.
Yeah, usually loans are like for half a season, 1 season, or 2 seasons. That's where most of them are. But
Most of the time when I see that in Europe, it's like one league trades to another, loans to another.
Sometimes it happens in the same league, though.
But most of the time I've seen it's from one league to the other.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So that's okay. I learned something because that's the one thing I noticed. They never seem to loan the guy to a team down the road.
It does happen, though.
Yeah?
It happens more than you think.
Okay.
In the world of Premier League, unfortunately, Chelsea fell to Manchester City 3-1 after scoring the opening goal in the 3rd minute. Haaland ended up getting the winner in the 68th minute. The game to watch out for in the Premier League this weekend is Arsenal-Man City. That's on Sunday.
That's tomorrow, right?
Yes, it is.
I got something to watch.
Liverpool, of course, continues to be top of the table in the Premier League. Arsenal is sitting 9 points back, along with Nottingham Forest. Manchester City in the 4th and final Champions League spot with 41 points, although Newcastle United and Chelsea, Bournemouth right on their tails, all within a single point. So it should be very interesting there.
Man City going to pull it off. Notice lately they seem to right the ship in the last week.
Well, we'll see. A lot to go.
My boys, I'm not jumping off the bandwagon yet.
In Serie A, Napoli topped Juventus 2-1. Lukaku scored the penalty winner in the 69th minute. The game to watch out for this week is Milan-Inter, the derby. Yeah. That'll be tomorrow as well.
Can I ask you a question? Something said about, was there players that sat for Juventus in that game? Because they had champions below, and somebody was saying about one of the times I was looking at it on, because last Wednesday, all the games, that's why I was saying about championship games, because Juventus tied in the champions, right?
I would have to look again.
Okay, but in any event, one where the guy was saying about load management. He was talking about it in a weird way.
Like that happens in soccer.
Yeah, okay, so that's what he was. And I don't think that's a bad idea when the way you got to play. You're going to go from your league to your champions, and pretty well know your position. Mm-hmm. Then you can do this thing to make sure that you're competitive enough to get to the next level. I like that thinking. Is that load management, though?
Well, I mean, soccer is a very demanding sport, like being out there for 90 minutes. So you can't do that exactly like 3 times a week.
Yes. Okay, I got you. So that's what I'm saying. Like this schedule part is a little bit, is it condensed is a word? This time of the year, they're playing a little bit more games than they usually play. Now they're going to get a little break coming up.
Yeah, because you have league games if you're in Champions League or some UEFA competition. Plus you have your domestic cups, so like Coppa Italia, FA Cup. This is when that starts to ramp up as well.
Oh, good. That's what I was just thinking about that. So not a proponent of doing that, but and the travel. Mm-hmm. Add the travel to all of this, and interesting way that soccer does their business.
Absolutely. So Napoli is top of the table for Serie A. Inter is sitting 3 points back with the game in hand, so it's going to be a tight one to the finish. Atalanta in 3rd, Lazio in 4th, actually. And Juventus is 2 points back of them for that final Champions League spot, followed by Fiorentina and AC Milan and Bologna, all kind of hanging around there, all within 5 points that last spot, so not out of the woods yet. In the world of La Liga, Atletico got the 1-1 draw versus Villarreal. Atletico had a 59% possession. That one outshot them 20-8, 8 shots to 1 on net, but only got 1 past the keeper. The game to watch out for this weekend there is Atletico Madrid versus Mallorca. That one's on today.
This afternoon?
I believe so. Or is it going on? Oh, yeah, at 12:30, so that will be going on soon.
Okay.
Real Madrid top of the table with Atletico Madrid 4 points back. Barcelona 7 points back, but they are firmly in the Champions League spot, along with Athletic. Villarreal 6 points back of a Champions League spot, so I imagine Barcelona is okay. And it feels like they're gunning for Champions League anyways.
Appears to be.
In Bundesliga, RB Leipzig drew Bayer Leverkusen 2-2, even though Leipzig really had the possession advantage. Bayer Leverkusen got more shots away on net. Either way, it was a tied game to watch out for this week. Eintracht Frankfurt versus Wolfsburg. That will be tomorrow.
Okay.
Looking at the table there, Bayern Munich has a healthy 9-point lead over second place, although the teams below them have games in hand. Bayer Leverkusen, Frankfurt, and Stuttgart round out the top 4 for Champions League, although RB Leipzig and FSV Mainz 05 kind of sniffing around.
That's what they're saying.
In Ligue 1, the game to watch out for this week is Marseille versus Lyon. That'll be tomorrow. And PSG has a healthy 10-point lead In that league, Marseille and Monaco round out the Champions League spot with Nice, Lens, and Lille all kind of sniffing around. But that's not what you came here for.
Okay, so before you go, these guys are already competing to be in the Champions League next year. That's what you said at the end, because only so many. Yeah, got you. Yeah.
So moving on to Champions League, PSV bested Liverpool 3-2. All the goals were in the first half, and Liverpool were probably resting some guys since they already won the previous games. They had their spot secured.
Yep, that was another team that everyone said, like, we know what's going on here. Okay, cool.
Bayern Munich bested Slovan Bratislava 3-1 in a must-win game for them, and they really dominated, wiped the floor with them. Arsenal got a 2-1 win at Girona. Barcelona 2-2 draw versus Atalanta. Real Madrid with a must-win game at Brest 3-0. Manchester City beat Club Brugge 3-1 in another must-win game.
Yep.
Lille topped Feyenoord, our Dutch squad, 6-1. Our boy Jonathan David had a goal in that one.
Yeah, it's a nice goal, too. I see it on the highlights.
Juventus fell at home to Benfica 2-0. Aston Villa beat Celtic 4-2. Dynamo Zagreb gets the 2-1 win versus Milan, breaking Milan's 5-game win streak. Musa had a red card in the 39th minute, and Milan falls out of the top 8. Inter bested Monaco 3-0, kicking Monaco out of the top 8.
Yep.
Atletico Madrid got a 4-1 win versus RB Salzburg at Salzburg in Austria. Sporting got a 1-1 draw versus Bologna at home. VfB Stuttgart lost 4-1 at home to PSG. So after all that, Liverpool, Barcelona, Arsenal, Inter, Atletico Madrid, Bayer Leverkusen, Lille, and Aston Villa all get the bye to the round of 16. They will be waiting basically for February
11th is when they start. February 11th, the next round.
No, but the draw, basically they won't know who they're playing until February 21st.
Because that's got all those games got to get done, right?
Yeah.
Well, I understand that. That's why I'm okay. Go ahead. Did you want to say?
Yeah. So the start of the 2-leg playoff, we have Tuesday, February 11th, Brest PSG, Sporting CP versus Dortmund, Juventus PSV, and Manchester City versus Real Madrid. That's going to be the big one. And then the next day we have Club Brugge Atalanta, Celtic versus Bayern, Monaco versus Benfica, and Feyenoord versus Milan.
I had because I'm not.
And they'll also play a week later for the second leg.
Yeah. So anyways, in my opinion, when I looked at what was going on here, because I find it, of course, Man City and Real Madrid, how this fell that those twos play in this round, that must just make the TV people just lose their minds. One of them going home. So that'll be top notch. Then Monaco is playing Benfica. That game interests me because I'm not saying Monaco is a bad team or they're going to be a great team, but Benfica seems to be one of those teams that when you look when they play in their own league and that, they could be somebody that, I don't know, I think they're good enough to win. I'm picking them in that game. That's why I think it's an interesting game. Now, another game that fascinates me isn't Milan's got to be much better than those Feyenoord guys, right?
You think?
Yeah, so I'm just
Milan's had their own problems, though, so you never know.
Is that an upset alert?
I would still pick Milan.
Okay, anyways, I would too, but I was saying that. Now, Dortmund and Sporting is another one that I'm saying that could be an interesting match because one of them got to go home, and where they are, and one of them supposed to be better. You know what I mean? And how they got matched up. What fascinates me anyway is that the cool thing about this championship, when they lost those games way back in those days, they should have lost those games because it made for Man City playing Real Madrid. Mm-hmm. That's cool. You know what I mean? And Dartmouth playing Sporting. And wondering if we're going to get the upset.
Yeah.
Dortmund, yeah, whatever. Because I noticed what they've been doing. You know, I look at the tables now. And listen to those guys on TV. My ears go up for certain teams. But, yeah, it should be interesting.
Yeah, like I said before, the round of 16 draw will fall all the way on February 21st. And then round of 16, first leg, March 4th and 5th. So then basically you get Champions League every 2 weeks from that point on. From this point on, I should say. So it's going to be very fun.
Yeah, we can keep our eye on it. So now that we're getting there, we don't know where they're going to play. The next bandwagon I'm jumping on is Atletico Madrid. That's my new favorite team. You know, and they're fifth on the table, aren't they?
Well, I mean, at this point,
they made it like they're one of the 8 teams that.
Yeah, they were fifth.
Oh yeah, they're fifth. Got it here. They're fifth. So that's going to be my bandwagon team if Man City decides not to do what they're supposed to against Real Madrid.
All right. Anything else to add for soccer?
Kern? No, we're good. But I'm fascinated by, and everyone knows I'm no big soccer guy, but I'm fascinated how the champions got here. I'll be keeping my eyes open.
All right. We'll move this along to the NBA in our newest edition of our power rankings.
The NBA. Nothing but asses, okay? Is that our word for the day? Okay, I'll start us off. Once again, I'm going to just kick the NBA in this way. I'm not even giving you top 10 teams. As I think after 8, y'all suck. Okay? Is that my fervent belief in the league? In any event, number 8, I got the Milwaukee Bucks. Number 7, I got the Denver Nuggets. Number 6, I got the Houston Rockets. Number 5, I got the New York Knicks. Number 4, I got the Memphis Grizzlies. Number 3, the Boston Celtics. Number 2, the Cleveland Cavaliers. And, of course, number 1, with our SGA, the OKC Thunder.
All right, so my honorable mention for number 6 is the Memphis Grizzlies.
Okay.
Number 5, I have the Houston Rockets.
Wow. I think after I looked at it this morning, I should have, because I got them at number 6, but maybe they are top 5. Big win this week.
Number 4, I got the Boston Celtics.
Okay.
Number 3, the New York Knicks. Number 2, the Cleveland Cavaliers. And number 1, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah, we got up those top 2. You got the Knicks that high?
Yeah, I do.
Number 4?
Just because they have 3. Just because they had a better week or better last couple weeks than Boston, so you got to give them credit.
I know, and Boston gets everyone their best shots out, and they lost a tough one to Houston, and then they got blown out by the Lakers. What was going on? They took the night off. They were in L.A. They were having a good time. LeBron made sure that all the fun that they could possibly see was very close to where he's at because he knows how basketball players work. Maybe they didn't have a lot of legs for that game. They was in L.A.
Didn't look like it.
No, it was absolutely insane. The thing about the Knicks is, check who they beat. I think Orlando is the only one.
Beat who's in front of you.
Okay, so they had this week where their schedule is a little bit different than everybody else's, so I'll give them the benefit of a doubt. What's really starting to get me weirded out about the NBA is that teams got to have their lineups. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at Memphis, for example. John Morant's my boy. Everybody knows it. Don't keep flying through the air. Because, he gets banged up and shit, in the next meeting, and I'm not saying it's load management, but if you see how John Morant plays, and if you take him out of the lineup, they're a completely different team. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if that may cost them down the road because Houston's not going anywhere.
No.
You know what I mean? And they beat Boston the other night in their house, I believe. They might be for real because we've already talked about it for the season. I was high about them. I said they will be the team that's going to be in the playoffs. I remember. I was high on their horses, and all those rookies are playing the way they're supposed to. But the main thing that has it for them is they have, what's his name as a coach? I can't even say his name, Oka, whatever. Very good. Udoka, very good coach. But they got the veterans around them that have won championships, like Fred. You know what I mean? They got some guys of depth there. So I don't think Houston's going away.
No, definitely not.
Conference semifinals?
At least.
Think so?
Yeah.
Who would they play? Would that be Memphis?
Yeah, they'd be playing Memphis that round.
Let's just see where this
to be continued.
Oh, yes. They'd probably playing Memphis. Should be very, very interesting. As for the East, I just think it's going to stay that way, too. Remember we were talking about it like your top 5? You didn't have the Bucks in there, though, did you?
In my top 5, no.
No. Honor mention, but like I'm just saying right now, Indiana is a little bit on the rise, like you said before, but screw them. I don't trust them anyway. But those top 4 teams, I think that's where we're going to go, even though we still have about half a season. No, it's not half a season.
Those wild card teams are quite
it's
the mess,
insane.
though.
Look at the Raptors.
Atlanta's lost 7 in a row all of a sudden after we're kind of building them up the last few weeks.
When did you hear me build them up? That Trae Young's on that team, didn't you? Did I say that?
You had some nice things to say about them.
Did I?
Yeah.
Was I smoking before the show that day? I'm not.
They moved up to 6 there for a hot second, didn't they?
Yeah, but all the other teams got their players back, and where it's going to go. Here's the funny.
You lose 7 in a row.
That's true too. But here's the funny thing about this: Toronto had a 5-game winning streak.
7-3 in their last 10.
Great development of the team. Scotty Barnes is the man, and as he said last week,
finally getting some road wins.
Yeah, doing some stuff like that, but. The question is it a little too late or blah, blah, blah? No, play hard because what's your percentage of getting in the lottery anyway? Like
the bottom 3, bottom 4 all have the same percentage anyways.
So what are we going to worry about? Just play good basketball. It's going to be there. But now Now, after losing last night, they had to win because it puts the other team a little bit ahead, and I don't think they're going to do it. But look at this time. It's the first time this year that the Toronto Raptors have had a sniff at the play-in.
Yes, agreed.
A sniff at the play-in. I don't think they're going to make it.
No,
That's a little
especially
too late.
after losing to Chicago last night. That would have been a big game.
That would have been one to get them ahead. But when you look at that the other way, the ongoing saga of Jimmy
James Butler
has to be just insane. Like, what is the team doing? Look
so
at them. They're still
if you
in
don't know,
seventh.
hold on. If you don't know, Jimmy Butler was suspended by the Heat again indefinitely this time after leaving a shoot around after being told he was being benched.
At $500,000 a game, people. $500,000.
That's not chump change.
And this guy, not only that, has a guaranteed contract for next year of $49 million.
That's gonna be. I don't think they can move him in season with the new rules and whatever, with like the apron
I don't
and all
know
that.
Like, this is untenable. We'll get to that.
This is
when we
gonna
get
have to be in the
Vancouver.
offseason move, and this is it kind of shows off a big flaw of the new NBA salary cap rules.
Well, they put him in.
I'm just saying it. This shows a major flaw. Or if you do have this cancer in your locker room, it's like, oh shit, we're stuck until the offseason.
Okay, but that's the problem with the NBA and its players and the power that they've seemed to have
And the NBA
accomplished.
used to be so much fun with trades.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Now it's just
Now that it's flipped, the NHL's the crazy trade league all of a sudden. We'll get to that a little bit later.
Definitely, 100%. In any event, I don't know. I've heard good, bad, and ugly about what was said by the insiders that Riley said we're going to do this. They didn't do it. Jimmy Butler said, well, I can't do this because we're not going to be competitive. In my opinion, let's get back to the basics, like you said, of the core of everything, like you said earlier. Okay, if they want to give away their assets to get this, do that, whatever. Jimmy Butler, you got a contract. You should be playing. Bottom line. That's what gets me. And this is the first time Jimmy Butler in the dressing room. We've heard what he bitch slapped.
We all know about what happened in Minnesota
And all that. Okay, but that wasn't a bad thing in some ways because he said, you know what I mean?
In hindsight, it looks worse. Let's be real.
Okay, now, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Because of the
definitely.
Because
we're developing a pattern.
And not a very good one. And
No.
it's insane because his time in Miami has had not a championship.
Took him to 2 finals, though.
That's what I'm getting at. So this guy's not chump change now. Is he getting a little long in the tooth? Maybe.
Sure.
But to cause this much friction and unnecessary attention to a sport where you want to have the highest level of competition just drives me crazy.
Oh, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
With the ratings the way they are, which we'll get to in a second. You know what I mean? And the situation with the threes and blah, blah, blah. But in any event, that's unfortunate for them. And I don't know how much that's going to affect. My point should have been to start with. How is that going to affect the playoffs? Is it going to keep Miami in there? I think it's galvanizing the team. They're in
I think they'll
place
make
at
it to the
500.
play in either way.
I think so, too. Just because the rest of the talent on the team isn't bad.
Will they be able to make it to that top 8, whatever? Like, will they be able to make it through the play-in tournament? I don't know.
Well, they got about 30-some games to figure that out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're going to see there. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'd certainly say that they're favorites over Chicago or Atlanta at this point.
Oh, definitely. And Orlando's, they should have been kicking in more. Everybody's back now. Panchero's back. And they're not. I watched them play the other night. They looked good for a couple quarters, and the defense went down, and they got ran off the court. I went, ooh. So they got
to rebuild that chemistry a little bit.
Yeah.
Like.
And I just think it's back to the old story. You haven't been playing long enough. Chemistry, get it together, and here we go. I expect Orlando to be in there. As a matter of fact, if they catch the Pistons, but I'm loving my Detroit Pistons and Cade Cunningham. Everybody, our new superstar. Cade Cunningham, look at the games that he's been playing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hoping, and it's going to be a battle, that the Pistons stay in 6th. I don't want them to be in a play-in because the setback would be there, which is a remarkable transformation for the franchise because look where they were last year alone. And the year
Last
before.
couple years, yeah.
Last couple years. Bodes well for the Raptors.
Sure.
Look at the Houston Rockets. Where were they a couple years ago? If you know what you're doing, you can make the steps. You know what I mean? And listen and that goes for the Memphises and the OKCs. Where were they 3 or 4 years ago? How you build your team,
well,
baby?
OKC also had built through a massive trade that the Clippers just handed them assets and assets
that
and
was
assets.
insane, too. But they used them wisely. General
Sure.
managers, OKC's been competitive since the Durant days, so you got to give them the time of day. You know?
A little bit of a lull after they traded Paul George to get those pieces, but they built it up pretty quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a couple other things that we want to bring up about the NBA, don't we?
So first of all, shout out Andre Iguodala. His number 9 is being retired by Golden State.
Huge.
An obvious pick.
Yes, it is. And he's not done in basketball, people. He's around the fringes now. So
Management?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
They say he could be in line for a general manager's job.
I would not be surprised.
No. Smart basketball man. Congratulations. Well deserved.
Absolutely.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Being such a big part of those Golden State championships, I just think cemented it.
Well, sometimes the thing about the Hall of Fame is remember the things that don't show up in the metrics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we were talking about a production meeting the other night. I'd take Iguodala on my team at the drop of a hat.
Need a guard, small forward. He was your guy.
On D.
Yep. The All-Star reserves also got announced for the All-Star game.
So what?
Victor Wembanyama,
So what?
Sengun, your boy.
So what?
Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, your boy. James Harden, Jackson, and Williams round out the West. In the East, it's Mobley, Siakam, Jaylen Brown, Garland, Cunningham, Lillard, and Tyler Hero.
Two things about the All-Star game I want to say. First of all, they don't care, so I should care. But number two is, who got snubbed?
Aren't they revamping the format this year?
We'll see. We'll get that. I don't want to waste a lot of time on that.
Because I hated the last few years with the final quarter to 24. I thought that was stupid.
Okay, well, there is a revamping, but that doesn't matter. It's going to be the quality of the play. But
Agreed.
But the second thing I want to say is that, people that got snubbed for the All-Star game, doesn't matter. Or is it, I think it has a lot to do with the incentives in your contract.
It does matter.
You know what I mean? But I'm not crying for anyone that got snubbed. The
No,
two biggest ones were supposed to be Trae Young and Kyrie. Sorry, you guys been there before. So you lose $500,000, not my problem. Got enough money anyway. The bottom line with the whole All-Star game is that it's a party. I expected that. It's not like the old days. You know, the old players, they show up for the ceremonial stuff, but they look over and they go, please, it's going to be competitive or not, which we'll get to the Four Nations in a bit, but that's another story. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I did not watch much of the All-Star game last year. A couple, 3 years ago when the score got up to 175 or something, shit, I went, okay. You know, what are they doing in this PWHL at this time? You know what I mean? That's how I was feeling about it.
Anything else to add for basketball?
Of course we are. We got one thing that came up this week that I think that is pertinent to the history of basketball, and it's been floated that perhaps Adam Silver floated the possibility that they could be going to a 40-minute game.
Yes, 10-minute quarters.
Okay, and what's your take on that?
The rest of the world plays 40 minutes.
So what? Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. First of all,
because America has to be different.
No, they started the game. Play it the way that they want. Number one is this. I was very surprised at the pragmatic approach that my hero, Tony Kornheiser, came up with. I thought he would be totally in my corner, and I respect some of the things that he said this way. Marketing around the rest of the world tells you this, seems to be in a good time segment of, if it was that long, it would fit more into the 2 hours time space in the TikTok world, just as football has suddenly got to about 3 hours and 15 minutes on average or less, which is going to go in there. So we got to put everything in signature in there. And then it came down to, and if they did do that, wouldn't we have less load management and all that other stuff, and spread and get it together. And then we'd see more players who are now playing 40 minutes anyway, we'd see more of the stars.
And I might add, too, that it's not just for the TikTok generation. A lot of the old people are complaining that the games are getting too long, too. So
then don't give them the million timeouts. Make them quicker. Don't hold up the game. The problem is when they get to the end of the game, they get the ticky-tack fouls, and they go to the club, they go to the table. That's what happens. They cut a lot of that shit out in college basketball because it was the worst. I had games in that day when I remember college basketball where they tightened up about 5 years ago. I would make jokes. I would call you. This before you leave the show, and I call you up and I go, there's 2 minutes left in the game. Let's see how much real time goes by. 8 minutes, 7.5. And that's what drives people crazy. So my take on the matter is, why should you kick the shit out of the history of the game? If you go down to 40 minutes, nobody will have a Kobe game. Nobody will have a Wilt game. You know what I'm saying like that?
So what?
So the statistics get skewered, so to speak.
Oh, my God.
So all those things that you're talking about.
Things evolve.
Okay, so here's the evolution of it. If you're going to say that this is what it's all about in saving players and cutting it down and making it more convenient, then why don't we just have less games? Because if you do the numbers that they play the less minutes over a 40-game season, over a season, you could take out 10 games.
I will concede that.
Okay, so I'm just saying,
That's a fair point.
Then keep it at the way that it is and take 10 games out. You greedy pieces of shit.
Well, that's the problem.
Okay?
You're asking a bunch of billionaires.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. It would improve the quality of the game. We wouldn't have so much of these back-to-backs. You wouldn't have to worry about all this load management, and you would keep the confines of the game. Now, I do agree with this. We got to do something about the end of the games with the timeout, how much time you can, how much you go to the bench, and they've already taken away some challenges which make the coaches even crazier.
Well, that's the thing for me too. It's about it's about the product that I'm watching. It's about me.
Okay, well,
right?
Okay, so then we got one more thing before we leave basketball. I'm going to put a point to that. Well, the other reason is they got to remember this. Are they trying to find a way to get around the ratings? Because the ratings have crumpled. Okay,
for the regular season. Definitely part of it.
Okay, so why is the ratings crumpled? Because your product sucks. I'm going to end it like this. Some teams that are going to win are going to go into the paint. And the metrics are starting to say it in this respect. Denver lost to Chicago the other night. And what did Chicago shoot? 3,000 threes they made. It was insane. Okay? Now, if you take that over the course of a season, and Denver played their regular game, their game was enough for them to win 7 out of 10 nights. However, these guys shot an astronomical amount of games that made them win. How many times are they going to run into that thing? Maybe 2% of the rest of the season, they're going to run into that. But guess what? That team that shot those threes all the time, when they do half as much, which is their average, they lose. So Denver shouldn't change their game. The other metric that's getting close to that, oh, by the way, which teams? The teams at the top. OKC, Memphis, Houston, and I think it is it the Knicks are up there? But you look at top teams, what they're doing is they're looking at the numbers. If you play consistently this way and a team gets hot on three-pointers, okay, that you lose that night. But the percentages are say you're going to be a 700% time winning. So what's the really problem with your product is all those games that they fucking miss all those goddamn freaking shots and the game gets ugly and who wants to watch it? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's what drives me crazy. So take out the 10 games, tighten up at the end, and if you shoot threes, I can't change that. If you want to shoot threes, I can't say do whatever the hell you want. I'm going to advocate for the Andrew Milani take on things. You take the three-point line and you give it a 35-degree angle, and it cuts off so that guy in the corner only gets 2 points. Because that's when they really start going down when you get hot there. And taking a three from there and taking it from the arc is a little bit different. You know what I'm saying?
Corner three, the third most successful shot in basketball statistically. So
thank you very much, which bodes to the let's just fire up threes. But it's unbalanced. And that way, in my opinion, I've been harping on it all the time, when this thing came up about the 40 minutes and all that shit, no, just do the basics. And one of them would be to take away 10 games. Is that going to happen?
No.
No.
Because you're thinking of all that revenue from TV and from the box office that you're losing from that, right?
Okay, well, we're going to see where streaming goes. I say the next 5 years, and that's what I've been saying for a long time now. We'll see where they're
but still less content. Either way, you're taking away 10 games. That's 10 less shows they have per team.
Okay, well, then maybe somebody else will get exposed for it. You can't have your cake and eat it too. That's my point. Oh, these guys are hurt. Like back in the days, guys didn't do it. Okay, we know the world's changed. Okay, I'm not going to say that. The world's gone faster. They do things different in the world. When I was a kid, when the Russians stole the game from the Americans in the 70s, they were playing 40 minutes back then because of international rules. So
it still is the international rule.
Okay, so when you play international ball, you play international ball. When you play American ball, you play American ball. I'm good with that. You know? That's how I look at it. I would want to change.
I would say it's good for basketball to have everyone play under the same rule set, or at least like pretty close to. Like, look, someone's going to have to concede at one point. In hockey, the just so happened where the internationals concede to the NHL. Basketball, I don't know the minutia of it as well as they do in hockey, but
okay, well,
someone's gonna have to concede, and it doesn't look like it's FIBA, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, that corrupt organization, that piece of shit bunch of guys that do things whatever way they want. Stop it. That should be not one reason America should say we're keeping it our anyway, just to jump into bed with those freaking whores. Come on. Stop it.
Oh,
That's
'cause
just
the
my
NBA
opinion.
is squeaky
I'm going to
clean.
say this. No.
Okay, then. What's your
Okay.
point?
I'll have honor amongst thieves. That's the only way I can get out of this one. My bottom line is this. I don't think it's going to matter, really, because I'm a demographic that's no longer respected. So, and I was talking about this with a bunch of my buddies last night that were above 55. I said, basically, our demographic is no longer respected because none of us, the joke came up about when they were cutting off TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
How many people have a TikTok? I don't have that app on my.
It was never gone in Canada.
Okay, whatever. What's that?
It was never gone in Canada.
Okay, but you know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of us don't live in that world. We don't even have a TikTok app on our phone.
Well, the whole reason why they don't look at your demographic is because statistically you're not the ones going out there spending money every night.
Yeah, but we're doing it in other ways, and like I said,
Statistically, you're not, though.
I know, that's what they're saying, because they can't say what we're doing at home, because anybody could be at home in the basement doing our shit.
Exactly.
They can't calibrate that. You know what I mean? But I think that we're the what do you call it? The standard guard. To remember how we got here, because you know what I mean. What it's going to be like? I'll be dead and gone, and they'll have 15-minute quarters by then. You know what I mean? Or 8-minute quarters by then. You know what I mean? Because everybody's 7'8". We don't want to wreck their knees by the time they're 30. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm highly against it. I'm very much a traditionalist. I understand the pragmatic approach, but I will, to the death, say, stay away, keep it the same.
All right. And I believe that's it for basketball. We will move this over to our favorite here at the House That Happens, the NHL, where we have our newest edition of the Power Rankings and Cruz. I think I'm going to surprise you.
No, I'm going to surprise you.
Okay, number 10.
Okay.
I have the Ottawa Senators.
Okay, now, you win. You win. The Ottawa Senators.
They're red hot.
Yeah, okay.
Where are they, 12th in the league? 7 wins in a row?
We'll get to that. You just continue on with making me choke on my cigar.
Number 9, the New Jersey Devils.
Okay.
Number 8, the Florida Panthers.
Oh.
Number 7, the Vegas Golden Knights. Number 6, the Minnesota Wild. Number 5, the Dallas Stars. Number 4, the Carolina Hurricanes. Number 3, the Edmonton Oilers. Number 2, the Washington Capitals. And number 1, the Winnipeg Jets.
Okay, so where were the Leafs?
They missed. They fell out.
Wow. Okay.
It was tough. A lot of those teams are kind of around 8, 9, 10 have all had bad weeks, and the teams all below them have been winning. So, to be fair.
Okay, that means it rotates around. So that means that we are totally in the moment about everything all the time. Keep that thought. Okay.
It's kind of what power rankings are about.
Okay, in the moment. Okay, I know, but I'm saying I'm going to talk about players that are in there. So how much is in the moment? Last 10 games, where they are in the schedule, who they're playing. We still have to factor that into that. So that's what I did. So I looked at it a little bit differently. So. First of all, I did not have the Ottawa Senators on my top 10. Okay. Number 10, I had Jersey.
Okay.
Number 9, I had the Stars. Number 8, I had Minnesota. Number 7, I had the Leafs. Number 6, I had the Carolina Hurricanes. Number 5, I still have the beloved Florida Panthers. Look who they lost to last 2 times. Tough games on the road. Great games. I've seen them both. They could be coasting for all I know. Number 4, the Washington Capitals.
4?
Yes. Number 3, the Edmonton Oilers.
Okay.
Number 2, the Vegas Knights. And number 1, the New York Jets.
Winnipeg Jets.
I mean the Winnipeg Jets. Yeah, sorry. Winnipeg Jets.
No respect for Washington all season.
They're in the
this
top
guy.
4. You know what I mean? Okay, so
they've been top 2 all season. You've never had them top 2 in your power rankings ever.
Well, never.
I don't think so.
They got to 3, didn't I? Oilers are coming down the track now.
I had them number 3.
Okay, so now the reason I brought it up in the moment is that apparently on TSN or something, they're going to say who are the top 25 players just before they go into the Four Nations just because they got nothing better to do. And I think that we should maybe broach this subject because I thought it was quite interesting because the argument got pretty intense. Who are the top 25 players in the NHL right this moment? Wait, is Austin Matthews one of them?
Of course.
One of the panelists did not put him on the top 25. I'm not going to say who. I'm just going to say.
Completely discrediting this list then.
Okay, here's what I said when I thought about it. Okay,
who was it? Did they say?
Oh, I know who it is. Just watch CSN. He's already getting roasted.
Who is it?
Hazy B.
He did not have Matthews top 25.
They ate him for breakfast. They said,
come on.
They say, you know what it is? Here's how it works. All the people at TSN are going to put in their ballots, and the results are coming out next week. So when they started saying who shouldn't be and who shouldn't, he said no. So I love the O-Dog because he said, I want to see your list in public. What are you thinking?
Thank you.
No matter what you're saying, Austin Matthews missed time. He's got a mysterious ailment. We don't know what's going to go on. So I'll put him at 25. You know what I mean? In this, have you seen Matthews play lately?
Yeah.
Okay, if we start the beginning of the season next year, will you put Austin Matthews in your top 10?
Probably top 5.
Thank you very much. So what I found fascinating about it is, at this moment, top 25. There's guys that you wouldn't release. Konechny of, does he deserve to be in the top 5 at this moment?
I'd have to. He's a maybe.
Wierenski?
Yeah,
on
100%,
Columbus?
Yeah.
Would he be? Okay, so just go around the league. Think of a few guys he might be in there. Weegar this year?
Another kind of like borderline guy. Probably not, though.
Okay, Matt Duchene? Right now? Right here, right now?
Probably not.
Connor Bedard?
No.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. It's an interesting list to go.
Yeah.
Nick Suzuki?
No.
Whoa. Odd guys that you tell me. Morrissey of
yeah, probably.
Okay, I say 4 guys off Winnipeg. Right now are in the top 25. Well, that's 150.
Yeah.
Okay, but look what you got. You got to take Hellebuck.
Yeah, Scheifele.
Connor. And the defenseman,
Yeah,
Morrissey. Are those 4 not right this season, the top 25?
Yep.
Hence the reason I'm saying that you got to respect where they are, number 1 team in the league, moving away from the pack, and they had that little bump in the road. But come on, I still don't think they're tough enough. But
yeah, in the playoffs, they're probably going to have some issues again.
But the bottom line is, if you're talking about this moment right now, no matter what you're talking about, 25 players in the NHL, we got to say that Austin Matthews is one of them. Come on.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Anyways, let's continue.
So, big news in the league this week. Yesterday, actually, the cap expected to rise to $95.5 million next year. The season after, 104. And then by 2027, 2028, $113.5 million.
Do you know in the history of the 4 big sports in North America, a league has never done this, announced their advance, like a year maybe, or they'll give you a projection. No league has ever put out what they're doing in the next 3 years. What did it tell you in the time of COVID? Were we conned? I know the escrow. I know all that, whatever the case may be. But you look at it now and you see where we're down the road. You're seeing salary cap increases that are unheard of in the history of the 4 big sports, or the 3.
Yeah.
The 3 sports, which is very interesting because maybe that has affected some of the trading going around in the league.
Well, I think that this is a lot to do as well with 4 nations coming up, where it's kind of like teams are kind of viewing this as an early trade deadline, where they're like, okay, if we let him play at 4 nation, he could get injured. We're going to get nothing. So let's get this over with now.
Interesting take.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the minutia of the trades. That got nothing to do with the 4 nations. Agents behind players have got nothing to do with the 4 nations. And we've had some interesting thing happen, but continue. We'll get there.
Well, what were you getting to? What were you referring to?
Rantanen, JT Miller.
Well, JT Miller, Pettersson, that's a different situation.
Okay, but
that's a feud.
Anyways, okay, we know that. That's whatever going on there.
The Rantanen one is more like, that one is like them, definitely the Avalanche are looking afraid to spend $100 million against the cap, especially with Makar up in a few years.
What if your agent walked in and said, we don't give a shit what you're saying, we want to do this anyway, without Rantanen maybe knowing about this?
What do you mean?
Agents are known sometimes to say something to management that makes them nervous without the player being there. Maybe over 4 fingers, whatever. Because Rantanen left town in such a way that everyone below the people in the room made that decision were clueless. That means you left your whole the product. You left the product out of this. This is unheard of. They go down to the dressing room. Hey, guys, shit might happen. Then the insiders start talking. Bingo, shit goes on. What was said, what was done. The Rantanen thing is now. That is the deal that you're saying. They only want to play 2 guys, but the salary cap's going up. So what is it?
I don't think Colorado's thinking they can afford to spend up to the cap.
Okay, so with a new TV deal, couldn't they add that in? I don't know. But don't you think now that with this Rantanen
Colorado's not Toronto, it's not New York. Don't forget that.
Still a corporate city, still got money. Denver Broncos aren't broke, are they? But that's football. Bottom line is...
Yeah, but the Avalanche are also never going to be first in that town.
Okay.
Don't forget that as well.
Oh, that point well taken. But I will look at it this way, and I'm just being a devil's advocate. Something about this rant and trade smells. I don't give a shit whatever you said. Just you talking about all the dynamics of money there. And what if they only pay him 11? They'd be comfortable within a year of the new, knowing the money's going up.
Rantanen would not have Rantanen wanted more. That was on the table. He wanted to be. So Panarin.
Agent,
so hold on. Panarin is the highest paid winger right now in the league, 11.5. I think he wanted. The word is he wanted like at least like 13.
Okay, so he is personally coming out of the dressing room, loving being in Colorado. That he said to his boys, "We can work this out. I can, I want to play with you guys."
Did he say that?
That's word around the campfire.
Okay, well, until it's confirmed.
Well, that's why I'm saying I'm being devil's advocate here. People are saying somebody said something, the agent said something.
Well, we're going to get into conspiracy territory,
okay,
though.
I don't want to get in conspiracy territory because Brandon Saad, when he got terminated from St. Louis, there's a possibility he left about $8 million on the table. Why are you leaving $8 million on the table?
Well, the word from St. Louis fans was that he looked like just kind of like out of sorts and like dejected. Something was going on.
Okay,
what that was though, was he unhappy about his role on the team or was there something else? I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
Okay, so now all of a sudden that just gets done there,
and he signed with Vegas for 1 year, $1.5 million against the cap.
Interesting move.
Yeah.
Do you think that's good depth scoring?
Sure.
Okay, so there you go. So
Saad, a good two-way player.
Yeah, and he's just
skater.
a year and a half away from, you know what I mean? He's only 32. Mm-hmm. Do the math. He's already made $56 million. Huh.
Yeah, he's not hurting.
No, so you know what I'm saying? But anyways, how do you get that contract terminated? I'm getting back to the A word. Sometimes I think that they're a little bit more involved than we realize because things happen behind the scenes that we'll never know. So I'm going to drop it there because it does sound conspiratorial.
Well, that one, though, because like the agent's also giving up that money, too.
What's that?
The agent's also giving up that money, too, in the Saad situation.
Okay, but he knows down the road he's going to get something else.
More than that?
I don't know.
No way.
Well, then the guy must have been happy. I think this is more Saad on his part.
100%.
Because he did not want to get on the bus in the HL.
No.
But to lose that kind of money is kind of weird because they say in the past, guys will go do there just to make sure they get their stipend. For example,
I can also say, like, going to the AHL, we've seen what that can do for players' careers if you're buried there for a long time. Wade Redden with the New York Rangers.
Just going to say, he played 2 years in the A. Why? To get a stipend. That's what I'm saying. This Saad thing's leaving that much money sounds like a lot of money.
But if you keep in the league, if it helps keep you in the league, then I can kind of see it.
Oh, that's where I'm saying. Where did the advice come from? We'll never know. I just say that these things fascinate us because they just come out of nowhere and they don't happen every day.
Maybe he's just betting on himself. Who knows?
Good. That's what I hope for. I always thought he was a solid player. By the way, Toronto was acting like the Blue Jays for a second because they were one of the last teams in on the bidding.
Yeah, him in Edmonton,
yeah, they were the last three teams was Vegas, Edmonton, Toronto.
But, we talked to each other about it before. We're like, was that like, oh yeah, we got to get Saad. I was like, oh no, he'd be a nice guy to have, like league min. I wouldn't have paid 1.5 like Vegas did.
Wow. Yeah. You think about it, because I heard Toronto was only offering minimum anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. And Edmonton bid a bit more.
Sure.
There was 3 people at the table in the end, and he would only want to play for those 3 teams.
Mm-hmm.
So when you put it all together, whatever the case may be, interesting. Continue.
So there was a couple trades. So Morgan Frost got traded alongside Joel Farabee to Calgary from Philly for Andrei Kuzmenko, Jacob Peltier, and 2025 second and a 2028 seventh. I think this is a pretty good deal for Calgary.
I think it is too, in a weird way.
Farabee's contract is a little bloated, but Morgan Frost, he'll finally get a chance to play the minutes that he wants to play. It wasn't working in Philly with Tortorella.
No, so it's time to get him out of there.
And they don't give up that much.
No, not really. A couple of good second-round picks, right?
1 second, but then Kuzmenko, Peltier, are those guys they're really going to miss? Maybe
Peltier, they're not going to miss, I don't think, but Kuzmenko,
maybe the smooching, but...
Kuzmenko, though, he's a guy that still looked like he had tread on the tires.
Yeah, but like I think his limit
is he a Philly guy?
I think his limit is like a low-end second-line winger, though.
Yeah,
Morgan Frost has a much higher ceiling.
I think so,
even,
too.
Even Farabee,
yeah.
I mean, you don't like that contract, but I think what he can give you is better than any of those guys they had to give up.
Agreed. And the funny thing is, Kuzmenko is basically making top 6 money.
Yeah.
Borderline where it is now.
I would say like middle 6, like second line, third line.
Okay, somewhere in there. But anyways, I thought it was a better trade for
Philly?
Calgary. Yeah,
for Philly.
For
Calgary.
I thought it was better for them too in the long run where they're at because they're dancing around there anyway. And this guy's a veteran and Philadelphia hasn't given up yet. Mm-hmm. So when you look at it that way, And I think in the long run, too, for the money situation in Calgary, it worked out well for them. Now, here's the question. If they fall, if it kick after the Four Nations Cup and it looks like it's going to miss, would they have the unmitigated audacity to put Kadri on the market?
I would be surprised if someone jumped out to get that contract because he's got a lot of years left, and he's probably has some trade protection too. So like the amount of teams he'd be able to go to would be limited.
Toronto's on that list.
No way.
That's a rumor.
How are we, okay, but how's Toronto going to fit him under the cap, even if they wanted him?
Okay, but I'm saying, do you think he'd be an attractive piece at the trade deadline?
No.
Okay.
Because it's purely a contract thing, in my opinion.
Okay, I figured that you might go down that road, but I'm thinking if somebody could dance around the contract like Columbus, not that he'd want to go there. That's the issue.
Yeah, he has a full no move this year, and he has how many more years after this? 1, 2, 3, 4 more years at $7 million. That's quite the commitment.
Okay, and what are we just saying about the salary cap going up?
Sure.
So
but Columbus is also not a team that you expect to spend to the cap either, though.
Okay, but Toronto is. Don't you think they could do a dance?
Okay, but we got to fit him under the cap now as well. That would be an issue. Who are you getting rid of?
We'll think about it.
That's not going to happen.
Listen, I live in North Etobicoke. I try to be as persuasive about good things as a Leafs as I possibly can. You know that? I do. I'm trying to be nice about the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know, I'm a Willie Nylander fan. Everybody knows that. Okay.
I'm just saying it's not realistic. That's fine.
Okay. So I guess you're off the Sid train too, eh?
He's not going to. He's going to be a career Penguin. I 100% believe that.
Okay. Anyways, continue.
And then of course the ending of the JT Miller saga, at least his half of the saga, came to an end in Vancouver as he was traded back to the New York Rangers alongside Eric Brandstrom and prospect Jackson Dorrington for Philip Hedl, Victor Mancini, and a top 13 protected first-round pick.
That's an interesting trade. Now, I'm going to put it this way in context of the NBA. Our drama's over, got there quick. However, it made for some interesting media talk in the last month because wasn't it about a month ago or so when they asked Peterson, he's my buddy, man. We rock. JT Miller, you guys are making this shit up. And then the general manager, Jimmy Rutherford, one of the most respected guys.
No, we got to blow it up.
And not only that, to go right up to the microphone and say, yo, that's rare. We were talking about that because we always say how bland the league is, and we got information like this. Thank you, Jimmy Rutherford.
Well, Jimmy Rutherford's always kind of put his cards on the table, hasn't he?
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah. He's an old school guy. So I
remember he got a lot of shit for that in Pittsburgh, but it's like, I don't know, I'm liking this from afar.
Exactly. So, but I mean, it's you know what I mean? It's a little bit of a look behind the curtain. Very small one. But it's very unfortunate because when you look at the Vancouver situation, they have a Hart Trophy candidate on that team. You know what I mean? You're going to waste
at least
that
a Norris
season.
Trophy candidate.
Oh, he's the front runner right now. Him
over Werenski?
Who ends up where? Where's Makar in all this?
I would put even him above Hughes at this point.
Really?
Yeah, Hughes would be number 3, though. He'd still be a finalist.
Oh, he's going to be a finalist. That's a gimme. My take on it is that it depends on if Vancouver makes the playoffs or not.
Sure.
He's one of the guys that have kept them afloat. Demko kind of looked rough in the third period against Dallas last night, by the way. Did you see the goals? He looked a little bit rough. But that's another game Vancouver lost. Remember, people, when we come back from the Four Nations Cup, it's a sprint. 25 games. You know what I mean? Don't have a 3-game losing streak at this time of the year because it will kill you. Oh, by the way, Toronto, I should shut up. Montreal on a 4-game losing streak. Like, if we lose tonight, you know what I mean? That's how tight it is there. Like, we're off the wagon. Boom, on the road. Rolling down that wheel left to town. You can't do it, but we have 25 games left, which makes it most interesting. So I don't think we're going to see a lot of trades before the Four Nations Cup.
I think there's going to be more. In fact, there's one more last night and one that happened this morning.
Oh, right, the one last night, yeah.
So, before we get to those, I want to talk about this trade from the New York perspective. Mika Zibanejad, the tire skates tighter, man.
Oh, God, yes.
You have a hardcore on your team now.
Oh, yes, that's just the way it's got to be. And you know what? New York's on a surge.
Yep.
You know, and what do they need? They needed a JT Miller type player. So in the short run, it'll probably be beneficial for the Rangers.
I don't even think the Rangers are done. I still think they have some cap space from the Trouba trade. So, and by the way, Trouba apparently is already not liked by his teammates in Anaheim, but that's just hearsay. But
okay, well, we don't want to get conspiratorial, do we?
I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, that's what I'd heard too. He's rubbing the kids wrong.
Yeah.
Don't rub Celebrini wrong, buddy.
Well, that's San Jose.
I mean, what's the guy on
Zegras? And then Carlson, they got the Swedish kid.
Yeah, come on. Those guys are good players. Those kids they're going to be around the league longer than you.
Anaheim feels like they just hired a coach, but it feels like that guy could be losing his job soon.
Oh, the NHL coaches carousel. Fastest one in sports. Fastest one in sports.
So the Canucks made another trade last night acquiring Marcus Pettersson. That's right, a third Pettersson on Vancouver. What a time to be alive.
Yes.
And Drew O'Connor from Pittsburgh. And they are sending Danton Heinen. It's now Danton Heinen's second time on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Vincent Desharnais, Melvin Fernstrom, and a conditional 2025 first-round pick. That might have been the one they got from New York. Yeah, it is the one they got from New York.
Okay. That's an interesting trade.
Yeah, so Vancouver getting a defenseman, which I would argue, looking at their lineup, they needed. I do not like Tyler Myers playing on your top pair with Quinn Hughes.
He makes mistakes.
He's a third pair guy. Just send him to the back. And then San Jose sent Mikhail Granlund to Dallas alongside Cody Ceci for a first-round pick and a conditional fourth-round pick.
I think that's a good trade for Dallas. Garland's going to fit in that team like good.
Granlund, yeah.
He's going to fit in good on that
Cody
team.
Ceci?
I'm not sure about him, but Garland...
If he plays under third pair, I don't think he's an issue.
Well, they got to still... he's a top six guy. So I'm looking at Sagan's away from coming back. You know what I mean? So that's extra depth when we get to the playoffs. And what have we been saying every team wants in this league? Depth scoring, Toronto Maple Leafs. Depth scoring. You know, so
although their lineup tonight, your dream third line is back together.
Come on. Why do they take it apart in the first place? We'll get
injuries.
Okay. Well, I still say Montreal made a couple mistakes too because of injuries, but I'll get to that in a minute.
But you look at the Leafs lineup tonight. It's back to Matthews, Marner, Nyes, Tavares, Nylander, Pacioretty.
Tavares and Nyes are playing?
Yep.
They geared up for this game, didn't
I told
they?
you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Domi, McMahon, Robertson are back together on the third line.
And you keeping Camp around because you just keep
Camp
around.
Camp, Holmberg, and...
Not Reeves.
No, not Reeves.
Minton.
No. Who's
Minton's
the other?
Lorenz.
Lorenz. They're the fourth line.
Yeah.
I like that they're putting Holmberg on the fourth line. They haven't done that much this year.
No, but I think they should have kept Minton instead.
Send him to the minors. Get him more playing time.
That's what everyone keeps saying. I like the way he plays, though. He's going to mainstay on your team.
I get that. I don't want to force feed the kid, though. Let's,
Okay, I'm with you.
If you have time, use it. So those are the trades that went down. Logan Thompson signed a 6-year extension, $5.85 million per with the Washington Capitals. Unfortunately, Miro Heiskanen, one of my favorite players, week to week with an apparent knee injury after Mark Stone collided with him. I don't know what you made of that play.
Oh, I don't know.
It looked a little dirty from Mark Stone.
It was Mark Stone.
He dove headfirst into it.
It's Mark Stone, okay? That's all I got to say. Not one of my favorite players in the league.
No, we know that.
Okay.
Back to that Ottawa-Montreal series.
Whatever. Fuck him. But anyways, that's a drag. That's a drag that happened. And guess what? That's one of Vegas's teams that they're going to have to maybe deal with, correct?
100%.
There you go. That's just a
That's a potential conference final.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. Do you believe that Logan Thompson is one of the top 5 players in the league this year?
25?
Top 25?
It's tough with goalies.
Come on.
It's tough with goalies.
If Hellebuck's making it because he's God, okay? If he's God, he's making the list. One of the other top 25 players could be a goalie. Logan,
the chances are there's going to be another couple in there, yeah.
Okay, let me tell you this. I'm going to ask you this simple question. Help me out here because I'm confused.
I'll try.
You're the guy that's been telling me I have not been giving the Capitals the respect that they deserve. They are number 1 over there. Did you see Logan Thompson's record? Thompson's record? Did you see his?
Talking about respect, can't even get his name right.
Okay, whatever. I know who he is, and he'll be a goalie for Canada next year, okay?
I hope.
Bottom line is, after all the things you say about Capitals and how they got to the position that they are in, And you can't say that Logan Thompson is not the freaking top 25 player in the league. Stop it. You know, I got you there, bro.
No, you do. Okay, fair enough. Okay, he's in my top 25.
Thank you.
With a pen, not a pencil.
So should we try to do this for next week? Bring our own top 25s?
Depending. That might take a while.
You know what we'll do? We'll wait 2 weeks.
After the Super Bowl?
No, yeah, after the Super Bowl. Because
into Four Nations?
Yeah, into Four Nations. We'll do it then, okay?
Okay,
your
so
top 25 and this should be good.
Speaking of Four Nations, so you want to have your... So, first of all, the captains got announced for each team. So, for Finland, it's Barkov as captain, Aho Rantanen,
so what?
And Granlund will be wearing the A's. For Sweden, Victor Hedman's captain with Carlson, Nylander, and Ekholm wearing the A's. For USA, Matthews is the captain, no surprise, with Matthew Tkachuk and Charlie McAvoy with the A's. And then for Canada, Crosby, captain, no surprise, with McDavid and Cale Makar wearing the A's.
I think that's a good call for our team. If that's the perspective that we're putting on the players in our country, very, very good call. Okay, but before we get to the Four Nations report, we have two things that we can't just gloss over that easily. Toronto is no longer in first place in their division.
They're 1 point back of Florida, correct?
Do you realize that they basically had the same record that they've had for the last 3 years at this time?
Oh, really?
Almost identical. Go back last 3 years. That blows my mind because they had banked points. And the whole reason, look at the last 3 seasons. It wasn't their fault. Tampa ran the table. Florida ran the table. Boston ran the table. Remember, they all had, you know what I mean? And Toronto never had any doubts about missing the playoffs. But the question was always about who they got in the first round. Could they avoid an easier opponent in the first round? Is that not what we've said?
Well, it's the Atlantic. It's tough to avoid opponents, good opponents in the first round.
But I'm still saying they end up with, you know who they end up against all the time, okay? So this is a weird year for them because they were at a point of moving away. Now, did injuries have something to do with this? Yes, but every team has injuries. Sure. Okay, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking that the Leafs should not 4-game losing streak, and I'm saying that only because look at my team, Montreal. We were the cat's ass 2 weeks ago. Lost 4 tough games. That's all it takes. And we were a team that were not considered a playoff contender, and we're getting this close to the door. We're 3 losses away from becoming an also-ran. Yep. Nice try,
I predict,
Montreal.
especially with guys back, I think Toronto's going to have a strong West Coast trip.
They always do. That's what I'm going to say. But I'm
a little bit nervous next Saturday against Vancouver, but
okay. But
we never seem to win. But
the weird thing is that the statistics point out that how close the record is. I don't think there's no doubt. But here's the thing is where I'll give you credit for. Ottawa Senators are only 6 points back. The Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, if you had said
playing their best hockey,
if you had said to me 2 weeks before, let's go back to say even January 1st. If you had told me that the Ottawa Senators were going to be within 6 points of the Toronto Maple Leafs going into they might not be now because there's 4 games to go. But at this point, did you think that Ottawa would be this close to Toronto in the standings? Not a chance. So it's an interesting season, which tells me, which I've watched a lot of this season, probably more than any season I've watched in years. People, the last 25 games of the regular season in the NBA, the NHL, is going to kill over most of the games you watch in the NBA.
All right.
From entertainment value. But now
we've been saying that all year, so that's no surprise.
Yeah.
But Toronto, a couple close losses this week. I'm not overly concerned.
Yes. But a couple of those losses were due to the fact that you're minus 18 top, one of the core
Morgan
4
Riley
is having a rough season.
5, yeah.
Having a rough season.
Four Nations face-off break is coming at a good time for Morgan Riley.
Go down to Cancun, smoke some weed, bring your girlfriend, walk your dog, clear your head, because you're a better player than you've been showing of late. One of his plays the other night cost you the goal when he got pushed off the puck.
I know.
Behind the net. Ooh, that's not a good look. And, by the way, he's not a pushover guy.
No, he's not.
That's what got everybody, and where, you know what it is? It's always a situation that you are in when the play happens. Doesn't matter what he did for the rest of the game because he hasn't been having his best season. But look when that goal was scored at what time in that situation. It's a problem with my boy Matheson the other night when we lost him the game. Great game against Winnipeg. But the key point in the game was Matheson did that. And they glorify him in Montreal. I don't understand it. I really don't.
Well, going back to Riley, I'm not overly concerned either because by playoff time, he'll be ready to go. That's his reputation.
Not only that, he's one of the guys that did not lose stock as a playoff performer.
No.
Okay,
no.
so you know what I'm saying? That's what his.
If anything, if
is.
it's risen.
Yes, exactly. So, anyways, that's the little things that go on in the league. Any team. Look at Carolina went on a 5-game run. Suddenly, the Islanders are on a 5-game run.
7-game run, I think.
Is it 7-game run
Yeah.
now? Now, what's going on in the Islanders? Before we move on to the meat of what we want to talk about here in a second is, do you hear what Patrick Roy said?
Oh no.
Okay, there's Lou Lamoriello and there's Patrick Roy. They came basically from some of the era, but there seems to be a what would you call it? A disconnect.
I'm sorry, 6 in a row for the Islanders.
Okay, there seems to be a disconnect. Did you hear what he said the other day? Just when the wind's going, he goes, "I'm just doing what I'm doing with what I got."
It's not my fault that our team spent stupidly against the cap.
I did not say. Let's not put words in Patrick's mouth. That's
what I'm saying, what the Islanders did.
But to Patrick, that's why Patrick's fun at the microphone anytime. We don't know what we're going to get. But is that not a shot at Lou? I've never heard a shot if I didn't. You know what I mean? And the guy's on his way to a 6-game winning streak as a couple games ago when he uttered this. God bless you, St. Patrick. God bless you. NHL's a great place.
And the Islanders only 4 points out of a playoff spot now. Very interesting.
Thank you. They're the new Montreal Canadiens from a month ago.
So you're saying in a month we won't even be talking about them?
I didn't say that about Montreal. I said if we don't not.
No, I'm saying Islanders.
What if they keep this roll going? I predict Boston. I'm holding Boston.
I know every team here in the wild card seems like everyone has their moment where they have a great streak. It's like, oh, and then a couple weeks after they're losing again.
So where's Ottawa in a month?
Ottawa's been a different story because they've been playing well since mid-November.
Allmark's out again.
Doesn't matter. They're still getting wins.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm more happy for them. Let's see what happens. Maybe Toronto will play them in the first round, the old Battle of Ontario.
That's my prediction.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
Here we go.
But Four Nations face-off. So you had 3 reasons why not to watch.
Okay. Do I get to go?
Yeah, go.
Number 1, is this more corporate than real? Why would I say that? Exhibit A, Mark Scheifele. He doesn't have some endorsements that other people do because some people say he's not the type of person that they want to endorse product with.
Okay.
He's not on the team.
He's not going to be on the Olympic team either.
Is he a top 25 player in the league today?
But hold on, Cruz. We've talked about this. It's about the locker room. It's about chemistry.
25 best players to play.
Hockey Canada's made it clear he's persona non grata. It's going to be the same people to sign the team for the Olympic next year. So you're saying that we shouldn't watch the Olympics then?
No, I'm not saying that at all. That's a different thing. This is getting.
But it's the same issue.
What's the premise here? 3 reasons why I will not watch the Four Nations Cup. Is it more corporate than it is real in the fact that they are making sure that they're pulling strings to get players that they want on there because it's going to be on a national TV thing? So look who's got endorsements.
But the corporate people aren't deciding who's on the team.
Agents? Money.
Hockey Canada.
I'm just one of the reasons I may not be watching the Four Nations Cup.
You're getting into conspiracy territory
again. I'm starting to smell it might be more corporate than real. And the period on the sentence is, what are they playing for? End of story.
Playing for your country, playing for pride.
Okay. Pride. That's pride fucking with you. Bruce Willis, famous in Pulp Fiction. That's pride.
Well, Marcellus said that to Bruce Willis.
Yeah, he said, well, if you get a little tickle, but then when did the line make sense to him? When he had Marcellus on the ground, giving him the shots going, big boy, you know what this is? This is pride fucking with you. I know every line in Pulp Fiction. Got that straight. In any event, number 1 reason, is it more corporate than it is real? Number 2. Number 2. What happens after 2 games? Sweden's get blown out 6-0, 3-0. They're out of the tournament.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Then they're going to play another game. Are they going to show up for that game? So
I would argue they'd show up even more to be spoiler. Hey guys, let's fuck with USA getting to the final. Let's fuck with Canada getting to the final. You don't think they're thinking like that? Come on.
Why should I play a game where I got to kill myself when I got 25 games down the stretch to get to the playoffs?
We get to fuck with Canada in the States.
Alex Pietrangelo.
He's not in the tournament.
That's the beginning for me.
Okay.
Pietrangelo got a nagging injury. He's played 48 minutes in the last 2 games.
Okay.
That's quite a nagging injury, isn't it? I'm telling you. But those 10 days off, and the way the Vegas plays hockey, and they got a shot at winning the Stanley Cup, I'm just saying, you asked me reasons why.
So he's not going to be replaced with anyone good?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if a team goes down.
These are reasons for you not to watch. And you're making a pretty poor case so far.
Why? The corporate is just saying. So how the
who cares if it's corporate, if it's a good product or not?
Okay, well that's the point. We're going to find out if it's a good product. That's why I'm doubting. Okay, number 2. As I said, number 2. If a team, I'm wondering what the competitive level of his games is going to be playing if a team gets beat early.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be just freaking junk.
I disagree.
Okay, then that's not. Number 3. Not reason that I want to watch. The team was picked too early. And you know who I'm blaming it on? People like
this
corporates
is, again,
and all that
Cruz.
time.
The Olympics, it's picked around the same time.
I'm saying
so again, moot point.
No,
are you going to
saying,
bitch at the Olympics and the next year when they pick the team around the same time?
If you're really listening on both sides of the border, like watching on MLB and some of the shows
NHL.
and NHL Network and some of the people that are talking on all the shows.
Even though we've gone through the NHL Network is not the most reliable, but
Elliot Freeman, he has come up with perhaps maybe we could make an adjustment to when we do these things. So if a guy like Elliot Freeman's saying that, I'm going to go, okay, Elliot, I got that. It's, you know what I mean? They could have pushed it a little bit closer because it's saying right now that there's guys in the NHL, regardless of our Winnipeg Jet guy, whatever reason want to say that.
He would have never been picked.
Go around the league, and there is about 8 players at least on this team that are playing in the NHL right now that should be in the tournament that are not getting a look. One of the reasons not getting a look is because a guy like Marchand was automatically put on the team. Now, I'm going to ask you this right now. Would you rather have
a different issue.
Well, would you rather have the Winnipeg Jet boy on the team or the guy that freaking held someone by the throat on the team? Gee. Well, I know why. Corporate. He's Marchand.
Well, hold on. I might rather have Marchand on the team.
Oh, what?
If the rumors about what Scheifele is like in the locker room are true, I don't want him around my team.
Okay, I don't know. I haven't been in the dressing room. I just seen the
By all accounts, Marchand's a good locker room guy.
Okay, I just seen the game the other night, Montreal and Toronto. One of the best games I've seen in the last month. Montreal and Winnipeg. One of the best games I've seen.
Montreal Toronto was the best one of the games.
Oh, that was a nightmare. I bet you it was. In any event, that game was an amazing game. Every time that line was on the line with him, Scheffler and Connor. Scheifele and Connor. Those guys were freaking amazing. And every game. Well, why is Winnipeg in first place? And they're moving away from the pack. When I thought, I don't know about Winnipeg, went a little slump.
Right.
Their metrics are getting better by the day. Who's the first line guy? Who's leading that team? Well, come on. So I'm telling you, I want him over Marchand.
I get that, but a lot of these problems that you're saying you have with the 4 nations, you would have with the Olympics as well. So
I'm just saying, move at the timetable, and I've heard there's an underbelly of people that are starting to realizing it. Exhibit number 2, is Logan Thompson on the team?
Again, if it was Olympics, it'd be the same issue, though. So this is not a 4 nations thing.
If they pick the team January 15th, would Logan Thompson be on the team?
I don't know.
Stop it right now. Call a lawyer.
I don't know.
January.
I don't know.
Okay.
I had him on the team from the beginning. You know that.
Okay.
Know that.
Agree. Okay, so I'll give you that.
But I don't know how the fucking heads think in there. So I can't say.
Corporate sponsorship.
Their corporate
agents
people do not decide the team, Cruz. Stop it. What's your evidence of that?
I can't say nothing until I'm going to tell you why in this tournament it means more. I'm going to tell you why in this tournament it means more.
Conspiracy.
I don't think it'll affect that way in the Olympics because at the end of the day, you get a gold medal. What the hell are you getting at this 4 nations? You're going to put the banner up, Canada? I hope they leave it on the ice. Come on. What are they winning? Oh, I know what they're winning. They're winning the Emirates Gold Cup. Are we talking about that lately, buddy? Stop it. Come on. That's just my take. So that's my 3 reasons I might not. Might being the definitive.
You're going to watch it, so stop it.
But you know what I'm getting at? Like this, don't confuse this with the Olympics either. Don't confuse.
But so many of your problems can be applied to the Olympics as well.
No, because I think
yes. Do
you think Petrangelo's going to sit out the Olympics with a nagging injury?
Probably not.
End of story. That's
one guy.
Austin Matthews is had.
You're talking about the exception hold on, let me speak. You've spoken enough to show.
Okay.
You're talking about the exception rather than the rule. You're going to let that determine whether or not you have a good time or not.
I'm saying they're not playing for anything.
That's not true at all. Anytime someone puts on a Team Canada jersey and you don't win, you're going to be, the danger is more not winning for these guys. They know that. You cannot come home with a silver medal or a fucking bronze medal if you're Canada. These guys know that.
Hockey.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'll take it there.
So that's number one why you should watch the tournament. To see Canada fucking win. Because we're the best at hockey, goddammit.
What am I wearing today?
You're wearing your Canada jersey.
Thank you very much.
So you're making a very poor defense of your position, I must say. Number two, best on best midseason. Who cares if it's not the Olympics? These are guys playing for their country. You're going to put their best out there. Mid-season form, hello. And
I'll give that the only credence I give you this is they're not playing at the beginning of a season. They're in mid-season form. That's the number one reason that's got my attention. Only reason that's got my attention.
And number three, a nice little Olympic preview. Not everyone's there.
Russia, Belarus, no Leon Draisaitl, blah, blah, blah.
It's a preview.
It's a glorified exhibition where you really don't get anything, and I wonder how much corporate money is driving it, how much the networks are driving it, and all I can say is this. I hope that the entertainment value is as big as the hype. I'm starting to think, I don't know. So I'm going to give you a little scenario right now, and you tell me how you feel about this. Who's not in your top 25 right now, Austin Matthews, in your top 25 of the moment. He's in mine, not yours.
What? I never said that.
Oh, you said, you did say.
I said he was in my top 5.
Okay, but I mean at the moment still, right? Oh, yeah, he's top 5 player in the world. Okay. That's a gimme. At the moment. So when we do our thing.
Hazy B said he wasn't top 25.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I'm not confusing you with him. But anyways, if you were to say he's not in 25, what do you want to say about Austin Matthews? Part of the reason
he's my boy. Come on, man.
Thank you. Okay, so what are the reasons why hasn't he been playing this year?
I don't know, some sort of injury, I guess.
Definitive words, sort of injury.
Yeah.
Do we know what that injury is?
I don't believe so.
He went to Germany?
Yeah.
Kept him out of the lineup? Now, he's going to go out there, and it's going to be the second period of the second game in this tournament, and he feels a tweak. What does Austin Matthews do?
I don't know. I'm not going to speak for him.
Okay, so I'm just saying that I hope that what I just said never happens. Never. I love Austin Matthews, too. You know that.
But these are kind of an inevitability with these tournaments.
John Tavares in the Olympics. Exhibit A.
Dominic Hasek in Torino.
Oh, there you go. So we can't say that. But those games were worth a little bit more. I'm saying that if Matthews has a tweak, he sits, comes home. Okay.
Sure.
And you know what? What would Toronto fans say?
If he left the tournament?
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
End of story. So my arguments aren't as weak as you're putting them out to be.
But we'd be saying that in the Olympics as well.
Different tournament.
Doesn't matter.
If he has a tweak in the Olympics, he gonna play. Alex Pietrangelo, did you not say if it was this time next year?
I agree.
Okay, so before we jump and say, you know what, I don't think so, let's look this in the whole perspective, and we'll end it like this.
Because a couple guys aren't there we shouldn't watch. Stop it.
Too early. Nothing to play for. Teams lose.
And you're going to be watching, and you're going to prove my point.
We got Swedes and Finns in this tournament. No disrespect. In any event, I'm going to go to say this. In my humble opinion, what I hope happens is we get some of the best games we've ever seen. Ultimately, that's what I really want. I love hockey, man. Come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just been in the last month or so, and I started hearing things and seeing things and understanding things. I start going, what killed me is that just something had a flash. I was playing guitar, and I was thinking about things, and I was singing, "Is the Four Nations like the Emirates Cup?" Okay, yeah. In any event, that's what got me thinking. Let's just hope for the best. That's one of the reasons I put on a Canada jersey specifically for this show, because I might get myself in trouble with Mr. Milani. But as you look across the table, you have to say that I agree. We should own hockey. That's what happened. We are proponents. We own hockey.
There we go.
We're not good at it. We own it.
You ready for the Saturday Night Pick'em?
Let's go.
All right. So first up, we have Chicago at Florida. No brainer, Florida.
I think that Florida's going to kick the shit out of them because they're just coming off the road, right? This is the second game off the road from the West Coast swing.
I believe so.
Oh, Saturday night.
Second up, New York Rangers at the Boston Bruins. I'm going to choose Boston to win at home.
No, I say the Rangers are going to do it. Isn't no, JT Miller's not playing tonight.
I'm not sure.
No, I don't think.
I don't know.
Think if he races there and get in the lineup. Nisa did.
Natius, yeah.
Natius did. He flew.
This might be an afternoon game, so I'm not sure.
No, I think it's a little too late. Yeah, a little too late. But I'm still taking the Rangers.
Minnesota Wild at the Ottawa Senators. Ottawa's on a roll. So is Minnesota, but I'm going to choose Ottawa since they're their home team.
I'm going to look at it this way. The odds of you winning in Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa 3 nights in a row is very rare. Very rare to go 3-0.
Good point.
On that thing. You know what I'm saying? I think it's only been done. I got another weird stat I've heard, but when you play that troika in a row, the odds of you winning, if you win 2 out of 3 lots.
Yeah. So
I'm going to have to go with Ottawa.
New York Islanders at the Tampa Bay Lightning. Islanders on a roll. I'm going to choose them to continue the streak.
Oh, this is, to me, when I looked at one of the toughest games, but I'm saying Tampa Bay, they you know what? They had games in hand. Guess what? These games in hand are disappearing.
Yeah, it's true.
They better win. I'm taking TB tonight, even though I'm blessed. I'd prefer Patrick won, but I'm taking Tampa.
Nashville at Pittsburgh.
Nothing game. Sounds like a Four Nations game to me.
I'm going back and forth on this one, to be honest.
I say Pittsburgh's got to respect at home on a Saturday night. That's the only reason I'm taking them.
Yeah, same with me.
That's a Four Nations game.
That's way worse. Don't insult the tournament. Winnipeg at Washington, battle the 2 top teams in the league. I'm going to choose Washington since they're at home.
No, this is going to prove why Winnipeg Jets are the better team.
Ooh, wow.
I'm taking the Jets. Is that game on TV? It's got to be
Yeah,
Saturday
Winnipeg,
night.
yeah.
Oh, I'll be watching that game.
And Ovechkin, 19 goals away from Gretzky.
And you know what? Washington plays entertaining hockey, and so does Winnipeg.
Agreed.
You know, so it should be. I don't think there'll be a lot of fights. I don't think there'll be a lot of penalties. The game will be over in less than 2 hours because they're going to be
actually these 2 teams low key kind of don't like each other, so there might be some penalties.
And there's some guys on the team that if you push comes to shove, Tom Wilson's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what's his name on the third line on Winnipeg? There's a big boy on the third line. I forget his name.
Lowry?
Is it Lowry? Yeah, big boy, black hair guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shit gonna happen. He go and jump in, and the other defenseman, like one of their 5th or 6th defensemen in Winnipeg.
Stanley?
Is that him?
The big boy?
Oh.
Yeah, it's Stanley.
Yeah. I seen him go through the crease the other night when Montreal, a couple of our midgets decided that we were going to slide in there and look tough. And he looked over and said, what are you guys doing? Cofield went this way. Suzuki went that way, unfortunately. But
next up, LA at Carolina. I'm going to choose Carolina at home since LA on the road
little
has not
trouble
been,
lately.
Yeah.
That's another good game that's going to be on, people. That's a marquee game. Means something to both. They don't play that often.
Carolina?
Yeah, Carolina.
Toronto at Edmonton. McDavid's not happy. This is a 5 o'clock local start for them, but I'm going to choose Toronto on the road.
I say Edmonton wants to bitch slap him because of everything about Toronto. Do you know Edmonton might hate Toronto more than any other city in Canada?
See that?
They're like
more than Calgary?
More than Montreal?
More Montreal, yeah.
Maybe Montreal is the only one that I would up there, but Edmonton has a hate. Calgary too, but Edmonton has a hate because there's too many Toronto connections.
Yeah,
with the fans and the city.
I don't see Toronto losing 4 games in a row though.
No, I don't either, but I'll still take Edmonton. Anything can happen. Got to lose 4 games in a row one time.
And last up, Detroit at Calgary. I'm going to choose Calgary at home.
I am too.
All right.
That slate's a little small tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, just 9 games.
Yeah, that's the small.
I was shocked too when I looked at it.
I did too. I said, where's the rest of the games? Sometimes it splits it on your screen when it shows you. I kept scrolling, going, "Where's the other games?" Oops. Okay. Anyways, that's less games you got. Because you know what? I think I told you this. I had this experiment last week where I had 3 hockey games on at the same time. What a joke! I put them all on PVR and watched the last periods of the other game. It's after. You can kind of, like I keep telling you, you can kind of watch 2 games, but hockey is so
can't do 3
fast. 2 is a mission. 2 is a mission. You can watch all the other sports a lot. The way they move, the game is moved, which is the beautiful thing about hockey. We'll end it on there. How's that sound?
Absolutely. So we'll move this over to the NFL playoffs, where we had a great championship Sunday last weekend, hosted by yourself.
In the mayhem.
Philadelphia killed Washington 55-23 in a game where I believe I said it was over about 3 times in that first half.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
And then the cream of the crop, the late game did not disappoint. Kansas City Chiefs winning the AFC Championship Over Buffalo, 32-29 in a thriller.
Okay, so let's get to the boogeyman in the room that you and I have both agreed on. Okay, regardless of what you're saying about how teams get to the final and how things work, with the Kansas City Chiefs, we're watching greatness. You know what I mean?
Oh, the KC
finds a way to win.
No,
they
but
are
even
champions.
just like the KC, actually, well, I'll save that a little bit later. But no, they're insane.
Yes,
they're
exactly.
insane.
So I'm just thinking that
doing it the same way all year.
There you go. And tell me a sports show or something coming up about the Super Bowl where the R word doesn't come up. Give me one. Give me one. One. Anybody. I can think of 10 of the biggest pundits in North America.
Oh, the jokes, it's gotten out of hand.
It's completely. And what we're doing is greatness. Now, what ends up happening is when you're talking about that shit, Josh Allen got a first down on that play. Okay? But as we said, when they didn't get it, when they came back to get it, what did we say to each other?
Well, I said when we were watching it, though, live, I didn't think he got it.
Okay, but anyways, what did we say about the play call?
It was a horrible play call.
Okay, so there you go. You got to play John. Now, the problem was Kincaid was probably first down on the previous play where they spotted the ball. Remember, he dove over the line. That's the one we were thinking, hey, maybe that was a first down. Okay, doesn't matter. It's fourth.
It was borderline, and that's the way it is. They spot it by eye. So
okay, so anyways, that guy puts the ball down on a fourth down with Josh Allen in inches. We thought it was preordained. So to have a play like that, and as close as it is, and there's a great thing, it was because the line judges that have now shown it were not communicating the same way, how it was called. Because one guy was overruled. Two guys making the call, one guy was overruled. Here's the thing which we'll talk about later too, is like, when do we can't have replay everything, but was that a replayable view? Once a call was made on the field, guess what?
That's it.
Ain't gonna go anywhere. You know what I mean? But that being said, we'll get that out of the way because that play was a little bit something you could question. But let's take it out of this. We're watching greatness, and we're going to talk about this in a minute. It's like, this is a three-peat in the NFL.
Well,
in the Super Bowl era, if they happen to achieve this accomplishment, it has nothing to do with anything else but their play on the field. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
No, and all Mahomes and company have done have just played amazing.
And can we say another thing? Neither one of us fly Kansas City banners.
No.
Of course. You know what I mean? It's just the practicality of looking at the highest level of competition.
I respect the hell out of them.
Thank you very much. You know, and I like Mahomes as a player. I like Andy Reid. I like them. I mean, I'm not cheering for them. I mean, when we get to our predictions next week, I'll tell you what I'm really going to do.
No, if you're a football fan, you have to like Andy Reid. Come on.
Come on. You know what I mean? Bundle Ruski, baby. You know what I mean? Come on. Guys, just good. And now, staring down Belichick as one of the greatest coaches of all time. If he's not, he's now. You know what I mean? Look at his record. Most wins on two teams for a franchise.
That's insane.
Unbelievable record in the NFL.
Yeah. The only thing is, at this point, I mean, Belichick just has, the Super Bowls, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's
and all-time wins, he's still higher. But
but I'm still saying that the quality of their coaching careers are, in some levels, almost parallel at times. Mm-hmm. It's just it is the ring factor, you know what I mean? But now we're getting to the point of how many NFC or AFC championships games you got to. And Andy's right up there. And this is their 7th in a row.
Yeah.
Ooh, the only one.
No, it's insane.
It's the record that it is. In any event, it was an interesting conference championship game because one of the credos that happens in the NFL, and I'm going to use this later when we're talking about who's going to win the Super Bowl, is rookie quarterbacks don't make it to the Super Bowl. No,
but gotta give a shout out to Jane Daniels for making it to the NFC Championship.
Huge shout out. His future is bright. You know, but
and he didn't play terribly.
No, he didn't. But
that Philly front seven was just tough to contend with. Yeah,
pack of dogs. So I think the evolution of the Washington team with the absence of the old owner getting replaced by a new regime has definitely perked up the league because at one point in time Washington was a you know what I mean?
One of the top franchises.
Yeah, beloved franchises in the NFL. So their progression is great. They should be an example for another team, and they should be happy. Can I put one footnote on? How did we lose to that team?
I don't know.
Bad end of the defense. Oh, by the way, Detroit Lion fans.
Injuries, questionable play calls.
Here's another. You got it. Okay, but here's one thing I want to just say about this because there's a lot of scuttlebutt about what's going on. and I think this is complete bullshit because it's gone on since frickin' the Super Bowl started. There's been some people, and I don't attest to this as a disciple of Detroit Lion, because other teams were talking to Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn during the playoffs. They said that distracted them from the job they were supposed to be doing.
Oh, stop it.
Thank you very much. But put the foot to the fire. Belichick said they should eliminate that rule. You should wait till your team is out, and then you can talk to them.
Yeah, I don't like the way the coaching search works in the NFL, so I'm with Belichick there.
That's what he was saying. So, but does that
problem
affect
is,
the
though,
game?
like,
Does that affect the game?
I don't
think
buy
Singh
that.
said. Exactly. But that's what gives
Fuel to the fire.
you got it. You know what I mean when you hear it. So I'm not acquiescing to that in no means. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely not. Back to the NFC Championship game, though. Saquon Barkley right away blew that game wide open. I mean,
You know what?
it was Philly's game to lose from that point on.
But remember,
Basically the first play.
okay, but before that, just before Saquon Barkley ripped off that run and we went to commercial, we said this is the best possible way for Washington to start the game. They drove, they got a fourth down. Because remember the second time, should they take the fourth down? They didn't. I said, take the 3 points.
Yeah.
You already had your fourth down. You got it. Don't throw your luck against those dogs. And they took the 3. In hindsight, maybe should they went to 4? No, I'll still say it at this point. Because remember, they already had a fourth down conversion. And they got a field goal. We thought, what a great start for Jaden Daniels and the boys. Boy, were we
Well, I wasn't saying great start. I
Not
think
a great start. I was solid.
you
Considering
were
I felt
you were more optimistic than I was. Put it that way.
Yes, but I was still calling
But
Philly.
you were like, you gotta go for 3 points. I was going, well, you know.
I was on that because you're on the road. You're on the road, and you're
More reason to be aggressive.
okay. But they just were. They just got a fourth down. Okay, so I'm just saying you're on the road against a division opponent on your first drive of the game. You got 3. That's a victory. Didn't work out that way.
No,
Okay.
they got smoked when all was said and done.
Yes, exactly. But it was interesting, and Jaden Daniels, a couple of the O-line guys had rough days, but they battled as hard as they could. McLaurin's stock got a little bit freaking whatever, but then he had Quentin Mitchell on him all the time, which is this kid's going to be something else. Another advertisement for why you should take a Hunter guy from Colorado.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? There's Exhibit A.
there we go.
I think that there was a question, and we're going to ask it to you and I, because this league is so quarterback driven, and now we've had Josh Allen 4th loss to Kansas City in the
Yep.
playoffs.
4th in the last 5 years.
So, who has a greater chance of winning the Super Bowl, Lamar or Josh?
I'd say Josh, because Baltimore seems to just make worse play calls.
Well,
bigger games.
when you look, like they didn't lose because of Josh Allen.
No,
and in none of the
no.
games they've ever lost because of Josh Allen. We understand that. So,
No, Baltimore just seems to put the ball in Lamar's hands a little bit too often when you have a great running game. I really don't understand that. It happened last year in the AFC Championship game. It happened this year in the divisional round against Buffalo.
yeah, but they didn't have King Henry last year. had
They
a
showed
good
a strong
back.
running game.
Yes, they did, because that old line.
And last year KC's run defense was like, and they never tested them.
Okay.
I didn't get it.
Okay, so I'll take it one step further here. Why aren't we talking about Joe Burrow? He's already beaten Mahomes.
Yep.
But we don't know about the Cincinnati organization.
Well,
He's
Cincinnati,
been talking lately.
yeah.
Hear them talking lately, how they're feeling about how Joe Burrow's been talking. Ooh, not good. Because you know what I mean? They just seem to be a little bit more. They don't seem to be the stable organization, even though they've drafted well.
Well, they've never really been a stable organization. Let's be real. And their defense is horrible.
Oh, that's what it is. But anyway, the question is Lamar or Josh. I say Josh has a better chance.
Agreed.
A thing, but I'm going to say it's going to end up being Lamar just because Baltimore has won the Super Bowl before and they've always knocked at the door. Is Josh
Completely different team, though.
Is Josh Allen going to be the guy that's no longer you know what? I like both of them. I hope they both win one.
Yeah.
Would just settle this argument because we're seeing greatness all over the league in quarterbacks. Some of the highest level of quarterbacking we've seen including the era of Manning, Brady, Rothschild, Drew Brees.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've got and look at the young kids coming up.
No, I know.
So it bodes well for that. So anyways, we're not going to talk too much about that aspect of football because next week we'll have our Super Bowl preview. So there's no reason for us to give predictions now.
No.
However, go ahead.
Yeah, so 5 things that got our attention this year and 5 players that got our attention this year.
Where do you want to go first with the attention?
Let's go five things that got our attention.
Okay. You want me to start?
Sure.
The first thing, and that's why I said I almost had 6, but I think that these things are combined, is what got my eye this year was the replay assist situation, I called it. So, at the same time, one of the other things I was going to add is, one thing I got my eye is, what are they going to review more of than they used to before because of series of play this year? Mm. But technically, they're connected. So, the reason that got my attention is, do you know you watch those games and you see an infraction and they say there was a penalty and all of a sudden they come back and they're underneath the huddle and the play is, they've decided they've changed the play. Mm-hmm. But the referee didn't come to the mic. They didn't do any of that shit. They went, all of a sudden, bang, that was quick. Replay assistant. It got my attention. How come on the big plays, when it might be a pass interference or not, or when you have that play where Houston guys around Patrick Mahomes in the scuffle for a 15-yarder, whatever the case may be, why didn't they go to replay assist on that? Because they say, first of all, it takes too long. Well, when it works in that situation, it's convenient for you. Why doesn't it work for that situation over here? You know what I'm getting at? With the replay assistant, like, when did they use that? It's really got my attention this year, and it shocked me with the amount of games I've seen. Like, the play was on, but, it might be the second quarter of week 12.
Yeah.
Or the third quarter of work 14 or whatever. But it's gone on, and you've seen it. And I'm wondering, well, it worked then. In the biggest plays in the game in the fourth quarter, we don't get any of this. So, yeah, the replay assistance thing is one thing that really got my attention, but I don't know where it's going.
Neither do I. So the running backs are back. That was one thing that got my attention this year.
Then we can just get into, I'll check off number 2 on my list. The running back has returned.
Yeah, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley.
Okay, let's just put it this way.
The two-headed monster in Detroit.
Okay, there you go. So let's put it this way, though. It boils down to, someone said along the way that why should we pay quarterbacks?
Running backs.
Running backs. So, except for Detroit, but then we did get David Montgomery because they didn't want to pay. But let's just look at all these running backs. Derrick Henry, this is first year on this team. Saquon Barkley, first year on this team. Josh Jacobs, first time on this team. Aaron Jones, first time on their teams. So what happened is, or maybe like you're saying, I should let you continue why you think it's a running back thing too, is it's obviously telling you that everyone got fooled when they don't think they need running backs because the passing game lost its mind. However, if you're not careful and you run a too high deep shell with fast small guys, you become the Dallas Cowboys. Can't stop the run. You know what I mean? So I think it's great. We both agree the running back is huge. The comeback of the running back. I don't think it is a comeback. I just think that they got re-respected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't think teams are going to be looking around for guys that maybe they don't want to sign that they could put in their backfield?
No, absolutely, yeah.
However, there's one common denominator of all those teams. They built O-lines first.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? Okay, so I was
the trenches. That's always the most important.
You got it. Okay, so I'll give you the next one too because my number 2 is that.
The AFC North continues to be an uber-talented yet deeply flawed collection of teams.
Okay. What did I put in here?
It's a division that, knocks on the door of being the toughest one in football, but, they just... when it's all said and done, none of the teams in there can finish the job. Or in the case of... the AFC North. Or in the case of Cincinnati, they're just behind the 8 ball from the beginning.
Okay, so could this equate with one of my things that I've really noticed that have come up this year? I called it understanding the matrix. In this respect, we won't see another 15-2 team or all those big gaudy numbers that we've seen this year. Hence, the NFC North doesn't even get there, or AFC North doesn't get there. Whatever what you're saying, and I agree with you 100%. The bottom line is, the Matrix showed its exposure this year in this sense. I love my Detroit Lions. I want to say this right off the bat right here, right now. I hope we win 11 games next year because I think 11 games will win the NFC North. Why? Because of the Matrix. And it really shone this year, got my attention because, oh, by the way, what divisions did we play this year? So Detroit, Minnesota, and Green Bay, all with gaudy records. What divisions did we play? Because the Matrix already determined it. Oh, gee, we played the NFC South. Last time I checked, was that the weakest division or was it the NFC West?
One of those two.
Okay, so that's right there. So we played one of the weaker divisions in our conference. So what was our crossover conference? The AFC South.
Oh, another pathetic one.
We will not be playing it next year because here's how simply it switches, people. Next year we will be playing the NFC East and we'll be playing the AFC North. By the way, last time I checked, 4 of those 8 teams made the playoffs this year. Add on to the fact that Detroit's now going to have to play an interconference game against the first place team as their odd 17th game. Oh, who is it this year? Is this which conference? We have to play Kansas City. Oh, and now when we have the 2 extra games that we play into our conference, who do we have to play? The Rams in Tampa Bay. Oh, they won their divisions. So therefore, this year really pointed out to me is that keep your eye on the matrix because that will determine where you're going to probably get your schedule, like how good you're going to be. Now, probably people brought up this more, but it's really shone this year just by the gaudy records in the thing there. So sometimes, which I'm starting to do already, let's see what divisions are playing next year because they might play into my predictions. You know?
Yep. Injuries are a bitch.
Oh, look who you're talking to.
Think San Fran, think Detroit.
Okay.
Those are probably the 2 biggest ones.
Okay, but can we do anything about it?
No, it just sucks.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And a few other teams got hurt with it around the league too. It's a nature of the game that's very unfortunate, and the dramatic effects it has on divisions and playoff positionings is unbelievable. If Tua had played more games in Miami,
I think they probably would have made the playoffs.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. Well, it wasn't Cincinnati, just couldn't get their management thing together. But you know what I'm saying? That's a very injuries are a bitch. Yes, that got our attention this year, 100%. The other thing, one of the other things that got my attention this year is, let's go back to the onside kick the way it used to be.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? This onside kick shit is just bullshit.
Yeah, it's nonsense. It takes all the drama out of it.
That's what I'm saying. And that takes away from your higher level of competition because not only the onside kick, but you got to tell the other team you're doing the onside kick.
Goodbye surprise onside kicks.
Come on. So that's a key element of the game, which the proponents of doing that is going to just say, didn't you say one of the problems in the league is injuries suck? That seems to be a place where the injuries come up. And so it's a fine line. But I think the onside kick, the way it is right now, is ridiculous.
It's nonsense.
Okay, so we should just abolish it, so to speak, right?
Yep. I will say that people hate greatness, apparently, / the KC hate has just gotten out of hand. New England at their highest, cheaters, hate Brady, Belichick's a freaking hire an axe murderer, blah, blah, blah. Never seen the hate like this. Yeah.
Can I guess some of the reasons why? I don't want to talk about people like getting too many commercials. I don't want to talk about the fact that perhaps maybe someone's girlfriend is probably a little bit more famous than anybody in this league. Okay? And I don't want to talk about the R word. Their record is 7 years now, people.
Yeah.
So let's just take that vitriol and put it in your back pocket.
No, but they're getting help from the referees.
Oh, you know what I mean? It's like, that's the nature of sports. Kick them when you're up, kick them when you're down. But the divide this time here is like, wow. Now, when we get to talking about the game from a serious point of view, it won't be because of any of those factors that'll work into my decision. Of course not. It's going to be the fact that this is a good goddamn team. Great point, buddy. Okay, can I bring up another one?
Yep.
In your position, there's something that happened on defense this year that suddenly became an interesting question because it boiled down, because they still haven't named the Defensive Player of the Year yet, have they? No.
No, it's going to be with the rest of the awards.
Okay. So they haven't named the Defensive Player of the Year award. It's the first time in a long time that it's not like TJ Watt, JJ Watt, Myles Garrett, okay? Because what am I talking about? Edge rushers, they get the game. Now, in this NFL, things have changed a bit. And some of the teams that have made it as far as they have some of the best corners in the league. Mm-hmm. So what does it come up to me as I'm thinking to myself, if you were in the draft right now, what's more important for you to draft? The edge rusher or lockdown safety? It's come to light this year in the NFL, and it's going to show its way in this draft. You know what I mean? That's something that came to light this year. You know what I mean?
It's going to be interesting because safeties, cornerbacks, usually don't go very high in the draft. So.
And Detroit Lions have proved why you don't pick them that draft, because we've got the guys that were bust. But don't you notice that's an interesting dichotomy that's coming out?
Oh, sure. There's a lot of talk now about like getting like a best secondary player award and like kind of dividing up the defensive player of the year award, because it's like it's so broad.
But it's watered down.
Yeah.
It should be Lester Hayes won the Player of the Year award in his Stickum days. That's the thing. Rod Woodson won one. Didn't Rodney Harrison win one? Linebackers have won one. So I think what it does is that because of the media, eyes on the thing and the most impact of the game, people don't realize like that guy in the back there, the reason why you haven't seen your favorite wide receiver make a catch is over there. It's the Dion syndrome. Mm-hmm. The reason you don't hear Dion's name the whole game, why? Let's not go near Dion. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So that's an interesting thing. Go ahead.
My last one is the rookie QBs that we saw this year really grab my attention.
You know what? That did too. But then again, we had a little bit of it last year. Maybe not as much this year, because I think these guys are more stable in their thing, which leads me to believe.
Oh, we saw like 3-4 guys that are like, oh, this guy's a
franchise
starter.
Quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay. Not only that, I think you should have added on this. It goes back to how many times I'm going to look at the draft where they're going to say, how many starts did your quarterback have in college? And the 4 that you mentioned, let's see how many starts they've had. Jaden Daniels, 5 years. Drake May, 4 years.
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix. All those guys had, and that's an interesting thing that came up in my mind. I almost did the rookie thing, but I thought maybe it's a little obvious. But when you add that caveat to it, that's a very, very good point. You know, and there's no quarterbacks in this draft, except for a couple, maybe. We don't know.
I mean, there's always a couple. Any others? Is that your 5? Or?
No, yeah, I got one more. When I was talking about that edge rusher thing, what is the more difference between playing man and zone? I forgot to throw that in there. That's the thing. But my last thing is this. What's really got our attention this year is, what are they going to be doing about calling the 15-yard penalty for roughing the quarterback? That's going to be a huge debate in the offseason for a variety of reasons, which we won't go into in some aspects because we don't want to fuel conspiratory theories. However, if you can trick somebody into giving you a 15-yard penalty, isn't that part of the minutia of the game?
Yeah, you take it.
So
I don't know if there's anything you can really do about this.
But it's got all our attention this year because we've seen some hits where we go, oh, they didn't call the flag. What? They called the flag? How many times have we done that this year? Seems to be a little bit more than usual at key times during the game. You know what I mean? And here's another factor you got to remember in this whole thing. The size of you as a quarterback should not determine whether or not it's a 15-yard penalty.
Absolutely.
The Cam Newton frickin' back in the day theory, you got to wipe that out too, because if you hit a guy and it's an illegal shot, then the flag goes off. The reason it got my attention is I can't figure out sometimes, the obvious, yes, but sometimes I can't figure out why you're throwing the flag. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, and because of what has happened recently with a certain player that's mastered it, I think it's going to be addressed in the offseason. Or it might become part of the replay assist thing that they're going to add on and look and say, oh, no, that wasn't. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We'll see. But that's the other thing that caught my eye.
So my 5 players that got my attention this year, so 3 of them are related to the rookie quarterback. So Drake May, Jane Daniels, and Bo Nix.
Okay.
All look like franchise quarterbacks.
Okay.
All got a bunch of starts. All look spectacular.
Okay, so I figured that you might come in that door. So I said since they were so obvious, they got my attention, of course, but they're the quarterbacks. So it's a good call on your part that we're seeing. I looked at it a little bit differently. You want to tell me your other 2 guys?
Yeah, so I have Brock Bowers, rookie tight end from Vegas Raiders.
There's a lot of rookies on your list.
Yes, and I got Shakir.
What's that?
Shakir on Buffalo.
Oh, okay. So I had a little bit more, but I put stars behind him. But Shakir is my honorable mention. Here's the guys that got my attention. Number 1, Patrick Surtain in Denver. Certifying that defense out there. He was good last year, but he stepped it up to the net. He's still all pro, but you noticed him this year. And Denver became a playoff contender. Patrick Surtain jumped out at me, which got my old thinking about should you have a cornerback or should you have an edge rusher? That guy picked me up. I hate to bring up this guy because I hate the team, But if you didn't know Andrew Van Ginkel this season on the Minnesota Vikings, this guy was unbelievable. We're not going to get into the minutia of it here right now, but go look at his stats and what he has done in the rushing game and, defending the run and defending the pass. I think he made his first All-Pro this year.
I think so, too.
I think he made All-Pro, too, but he got my attention. Then I had a bunch of guys. Brock Bowers on the list. I did there, Emma Key, whatever. Another guy that got on my list was Daniel Hunter, the edge rusher on Houston. Let's end on Houston because with Will Anderson on the other side, even though Will Anderson got hurt, this guy stepped up and filled out the gap, which tells me that Houston's going to be back next year. They tighten up the offenses, getting away from the injuries you talked about. Mm-hmm. He's another guy that stood out in my mind because this guy's unbelievable. Another guy I brought in too was another guy. I hated to do it because I didn't want to do two, but I'm going to I thought of Courtland Sutton, but I said no. Courtland Sutton did get my attention, but Quentin Mitchell, cornerback in Philadelphia. He's a rookie from Toledo.
Yep.
So I had to have a rookie on the list. This guy is going to be, we're going to see him in Super Bowl. I predict right now, we're going to see this guy. You're going to know, if you don't know who Quentin Mitchell is now, I predict you will know him after the Super Bowl. Then my last guy I was going to say was Jamar Gibbs because when Montgomery went down and everything like that, and all I'm going to hear from everybody is, bias, Cruz, you just love your Lions. So I left him off the list to say my surprise guy that caught me this year was a Canadian boy, Mr. Hubbard on Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Look at the team he was on. Look at the mess that he was on, and look at his production. You had to notice him. Fantasy people noticed him this year, but he'd be my number 5 on my players who really caught my attention this year.
Good call with Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
Toughest division this year, NFC North?
Yes, probably very close second, AFC North.
But
only because
there's a bunch of reasons why I'm not going to put them as the toughest
Detroit
division.
Is, but you see, that's what I'm talking about. The Matrix. We were the toughest division in the thing because we had the records were gaudy, and we beat the teams responsibly, and we fought. And if you look at those games, Minnesota, Green Bay, Minnesota, or Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota, Detroit. Those were all dogfights. So I have to acquiesce, and it's my team was there. Mm-hmm. So.
Unfortunately, one not so nice thing we got to talk about is the Justin Tucker situation, accused of inappropriate sexual behavior by now it's 9 massage therapists in the Baltimore area.
Is that why his kicking game was off charts there, people?
I'm going to say no, because people dug back, and apparently there were tweets about this in 2021 about how he had been banned from every massage place in Baltimore.
Whoa!
4 years ago.
Whoa!
People knew about this, and now it just kind of got back out there. But this was I guess in Baltimore. This was like a
he should be bitch slapped
like an
harder.
open secret kind of thing.
Oh, one of those deals. Yeah. Okay. Oh man, that makes it even worse.
I'm not gonna get into the specifics of what happened, but Justin Tucker is a disturbed, disgusting individual.
And not only that, to use your power as an NHL player, player to do that is insane. You know what I mean? Just insane. I want to shout out to, have you ever watched the Pat McAfee show? There's a guy on the show named Chuck Pagano.
Oh, yeah, former coach of the Colts.
He got a new job as an assistant coordinator in Baltimore.
Yes, he did.
And I want to give him a shout out because when that guy talks about football on the McAfee show, that's why you watch the McAfee show. Like this guy, like the nuances. Oh, I don't think it reason this. This is that. You see this guy play on the film? Guy's got a problem. No, it's not. It's not his game. Something's going on with this guy. Like little things like that and his nuances. So congratulations to Chuck Pagano. Anything else about football?
I think that's just about it. We can get ready to wrap up.
Okay, so there's something that we forgot about. If you were a fan on the team, did we bring up the Quebec situation?
Oh, Ottawa, Quebec?
Can we end the show on this?
Well, before trivia, sure.
Just before trivia, we'll get there. Because I just, in its relation to this, what made me think about this is in fan bases and stuff. Okay? Can we really believe that you can put your team to play games in another city and you're going to get them to cheer for you when it's already an old, established NHL city? Is this not the most ridiculous thing that you've ever heard? I'm glad you looked it up. and
Yes.
the owner has apologized.
Yeah, he said it was a bad move. Mind you, it was only preseason games he was talking about doing in Quebec.
Well, that's just preseason to get you what? That opens up the door to whatever. The only reason
It's not as silly as the Montreal Tampa Bay Rays situation.
Oh, that's a whole. You got a point there. But my point being is out there is that in life, when we're trying to say this 2025, let's think positive. Did you see the shit kicking that what do you call the mascot of the Senators is? When they were announcing this, and he's in a uniform that was half and half. Why are you taking it out on the mascot?
Yeah, come on. Spartacat had nothing to do with it.
Let's go talk to the marketing idiots that thought this was a good idea. Anyways, a fan base is a fan base. I think Ottawa's strong enough. I think it was an insult to the fans. And one of the things that we will talk about here on The House That Happens is not high level of the competition. But we get pissed off when you disrespect the fan base.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
All right, ready for trivia. All right. Thank you, Steven.
Steven, last week, as I told you when you're at my house today, last week's question was off the chart, and two guys that are sitting at the table stood in corners.
All right. Josh Norris of the Ottawa Senators scored a shorthanded penalty shot goal this past Thursday. Who are the other three players to do this in Ottawa Senator history?
Oh, in Ottawa Senator history. Jason Spezza, for sure. I'm going to say Jason Spezza. I'm going to say, what's the guy that did the models? He went to New York. Yashin? Yashin. I'm going to put Yashin on the list. So who have I got?
Spezza and Yashin.
Yashin, and I'm missing somebody. Spezza, Yashin, I'm missing somebody. In the Battle of Toronto, who was a good foreign center that played well? Was he Russian? I'm missing. Oh, Yashin was a Russian, but no, there's somebody else that played in that era that I'm going to say it was him. Let me just think. Okay, go ahead. Start your two.
Okay, I'm going to say Antoine Vermette.
Good call. Penalty killer.
Yeah.
Penalty
That's where I'm thinking with this.
Spezza killed penalties. Yashin didn't, so I better. That's a great.
Did Spezza kill penalties?
Yeah, he did at times. He could have come off at the end of the penalty. But
okay, I'll put him on my list too.
Okay, there's a guy from that era, that was a two-way center on that team. From that great battles of Quebec that we're forgetting about.
Jeez.
A great player that played too well as a forward.
I'll say Alfredson, the obvious one.
Oh, that's who I'm thinking of. Alfredson, exactly. I couldn't remember. Alfredson is the guy. He killed penalties.
So you had Spezza, Yashin, Alfredson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who do you have? Vermette.
Vermette, Spezza, Alfredson. The
The
3 are Daniel Alfredson, Mike Fisher, who was my fourth guest.
We should have.
So Alfredson did it twice, actually.
Okay.
Mike Fisher did it once, and Zach Smith.
That's your Vermette shot.
Yeah.
Who would remember Zach Smith? Steven, you're killing us, okay? I remember him, but he didn't rise. The cream didn't rise to the top.
No, not quite.
You know what I'm saying? In any event, that brings us to a show that we kind of got to where we wanted to, correct?
Yeah, so what game are you looking forward to most this week?
The game I'm looking at most this week? The Auburn-Tennessee game, basketball, or Auburn-Ole Miss game in basketball, because I want to see whether or not Auburn is the real deal. That's a huge game, but let's be honest. Tonight's Edmonton-Toronto game is a game to be played. Later in the week, Houston's playing OKC.
Okay. Want to watch out?
But it's too bad that we would be saying, because I'm going to be saying this week what is going to be one of the games that I'd be looking forward to in the next week, which week I'll be able to say next week. So can I give it a preview?
Sure.
Man City and Real Madrid.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta take a boo what happens there. See, that's when you learn. Before we learn, this is what you learn in sports. There is just as significant things happening all over the world that don't get us attention, that are the highest level of competition. I am not a soccer guy. Get it straight. But this is a huge freaking game. Huge.
And we get 2 games.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying it's just huge thing. And in context of sports, I think it should be respected. That's all.
Of course.
Anything else you'd like to talk about?
That's just about it.
I want to thank Stanley for not being as ridiculous as he thought he was going to be. He's been a good boy, got quiet. I'm going to be going out in the cold for my hour walk, so I'll be fresh by back. But then, won't be smoking weed before I leave, because you ever smoke weed and go out in the cold, you don't know if you're stoned or anything. You're just damn
Exactly.
cold. You're just cold, you know? But if you smoke on the way home in a cold, here's some good advice. You don't feel stoned at all. Take all your clothes off and sit in the couch and let the heat hit you.
There you go.
As an old man veteran in the game, I don't know if that's good advice. In any event, once again, Stephen, thanks for coming over. Appreciate it immensely.
Thank
By
you for
the
trivia
way,
as well.
I got one last thing to say, because it would be remiss if I didn't. Everybody knows I had a tragic event happen in my life. It would be remiss of me not to say that the despicable human being that was involved in this incident was sent to jail this week for 8 years. The reason I'm bringing it up is not because that, more than anything else, is the support that me and Zach and Cassandra, his mother, got from all the people in this situation, and especially to you, Jenna, my sister, BOH. Your support was immeasurable in a time of when you don't want to deal with something that's ridiculous. Okay?
All right.
Anything else?
That'll just about do it for us here at The House That Happens. I'm Andrew Milani.
My name is Cruz. What do? We
keep the vibe alive. You can find The House That Happens on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart Radio, Player FM, Samsung, Podchaser, Boomplay, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and follow us on Twitter at House Happens. You can also shoot us an email at thehousethathappens@gmail.com.